What's up, everybody? Welcome on to this edition of War Chant TV. We're watching the 1999 National Championship game. It might say 2000 on your screen. Don't listen to it. It's a 99 National Championship game. It's a 2000 Sugar Bowl. You know how that all works out. Everybody's here. Ira, Gene, Corey, get involved in the show. We probably won't take phone calls in the middle of the game, but maybe during commercial breaks. We'll do something like that. Hopefully this all looks and sounds good right now. I just unplugged and plugged a whole bunch of stuff in, but hey, that's behind the nonsense. What's on the screen right now, gentlemen? I can't see it. I'm pulling it up.
Michael Vick under center right now, getting ready to start the first series.
And I feel like we should tell people we paused ourselves about 30 seconds so we could all get grouped up, synced up, so we could watch it together. So if you're ahead of us right now, pause it for 30 seconds and then hit play again, and then we'll all be caught up on the same play. Virginia Tech just false started, it looked like.
Yeah, first play of the game.
They're rattled. That's, a little redshirt freshman, not used to the moment, not used to the limelight. I have a feeling he's going to have a bad day.
Maybe save that for a little while.
Now, remember, they started out the broadcast of it. I don't know if I think they just started here. I don't know if they brought it up, and I watched it the other day. Musburger's making a big deal. Remember the international rules for Janikowski missing curfew?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he had to run stadiums or something.
Oh.
Yeah, Bowden asked why he wasn't suspended, and he said, well, for him, we have international rules. But again, are you going to really suspend your kicker for a national championship game for curfew?
No, especially not that one. Derek Gibson was really good.
Trying to establish the run, running inside, and Derek Gibson stuffed it for a loss.
Yeah, he was good. It's a pretty good picture when Derek Gibson's like celebrating with Brian Allen and Tommy Polley. Kind of gives you an idea how good that defense was. Corey Simon's in there too.
Well, if people listening to this, Corey, right now, they're hearing his name pronounced as Tommy Pulley, which
that was Musburger's thing. You always called him Pulley, and there's no cue. I don't even
entire game must have been 10 references to him.
That's right, Tommy Pulley.
And Michael Vick's off to the races.
Yeah, man, holy moly!
And that's just the beginning of this nonsense.
Yeah, that's what he could do. He was pretty electric, man. It was crazy. Gene, were you at this game?
Yeah, I was actually in the press box. This was the first full year where I covered Florida State as media, and it was had to fight like crazy just because internet wasn't really a thing so much for media then. So I had to fight pretty aggressively to get myself credentialed for this one. So yeah, I was in the press box for it.
It was pretty incredible to see him live. Just the speed that Michael Vick ran with was pretty remarkable because it wasn't like he was running against South Dakota State.
Well, that's the thing, and they brought up a lot during the game and some of these plays. I mean, he's going against guys who are like 4-4 guys in the secondary, and he's blowing by him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, making them look like they're slow. I mean, look at this play.
Yeah, it's a busted play. Yeah, he drops back.
He got a first down on that.
Yeah. Well, I remember talking.
Gwaltney. Did you see Gwaltney? Chance Gwaltney got a little TV time right there.
Look at that defensive line. Holy moly.
Yeah, all four in the NFL. 2 were first-round picks. Did Jennings get drafted? I know the other 2 did.
Didn't he have a knee injury? I don't know if that prevented.
And then Chris Holt played in the league for a decade. Derek Gibson was a first-round pick, and Tay Cody was an All-American the next year.
Jennings got shot, guys.
He did.
Oh.
He did.
That affected his draft stock a little bit.
When he went back home or something? Yeah.
That's a bummer. No, I didn't know that.
So I remember when I got here in 2002 to start covering FSU, Mickey Andrews was still people would still talk about this game and talk about Michael Vick because he was blowing up in the NFL. And I remember Coach Andrews saying that their game plan was they were fine with him running. Their plan was to just beat him up. And they felt like he couldn't beat them the entire 4 quarters running, and take all the punishment.
Right.
They thought they would wear him down eventually. And, that ended up being what happened, although I'm sure in the first half people were probably like, holy crap, we have no chance.
Well, no, I mean, they had no chance to stop him. He was pretty remarkable, yeah. Ricky Bussell, I don't even know that name, their offensive coordinator. Did he land anywhere? Is he in the NFL? I've never heard of that guy.
Yeah. No.
Here's another big play. See, that's the thing that Vick does is his ability to run. You focus on him instead of the running back. It's the opposite of most option plays.
Well, it's the same thing we see with Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's terrorizing the NFL because of that, because teams focus so much on him, it opens up everything else.
I always thought he was. I know that comparison got made a lot. And Lamar Jackson, the only other person I could compare him to was Vick, as far as a running quarterback. I don't know, man. I guess Lamar's probably a better quarterback than Vick was, but Vick was just unbelievably dynamic, and on AstroTurf too. That wasn't fair. It's a big play coming up here. I think they get either a fourth down stop or a fumble coming up here. Like Virginia, this is a good first drive for Virginia Tech.
Don't they get it down like inside the 10-yard line, I think, when that happens?
Yeah, and I think they go for it on 4th and 1 and don't get it, I think. But this is an impressive opening drive. And really, Virginia Tech, I know the score ended up being 17 points and Florida State got up by 21 in this game, but, 2 of those were special team scores. Like, Virginia Tech wasn't, blown off the field talent player for player wise. Like, they had a pretty good defense, a good line. Their running backs ran hard. I mean, it was a good team.
Well, they took the lead. I know we'll get to that, but I think they took the lead late in the third or early in the fourth.
Yeah, they did.
And I think it was interesting because they had a little clip from Bobby Bowden later coming up. He talks about how they really think they could beat them depth-wise. And you saw that at the end of the game because I think they were just wore down on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they definitely melted down. They just melted in the final quarter. They were done. But, yeah, for 3 quarters, they were winning the game. Even after they ran off 22 unanswered, Ira. They were down 28-7 and took a 29-28 lead.
Unanswered
Until they were answered.
Well,
18 unanswered from the Noles.
It's a good first drive, though, by the Hokies.
It is, yeah. Well, their band's fired up. Wow, guys.
How do you remember the landscape of this season? How did they even make the national title game, Virginia Tech?
Wire to wire. This was
Virginia Tech.
They were undefeated. They were the only other undefeated.
And I mean, they played in schedule. I want to know who they beat because I'm looking at it. So the line, Florida State was a 6-point favorite, and the over/under was 49 points. So
Florida State was only a 6-point favorite.
6-point favorite.
Wow.
They were 11.5-point favorite against Oklahoma the next season. God,
yeah,
that hurts still. That still hurts.
Well, why do you have to, Aslan? Why do you have to bring that up? You're bringing us down.
Oh, you guys are the worst.
Man, Bobby Bowden owned Virginia Tech. Holy moly.
Let's go.
This was 13 in a row. Then he beat them in the championship. ACC championship game was 14 in a row. Good.
And they were a big favorite in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, they own the Vicks. The Vick brothers never did anything against the Noles.
And Rob Wilson, FSU Sports Information Director for many years, who now is in the athletic department administration, he always, whenever they would talk about Beamer ball and how great Virginia Tech was on special teams, he would rattle off all the big plays FSU had on special teams against Virginia Tech through the years.
Yeah, well, they have 2 in this game that are touchdowns. They had the Willie Reed punt return for a touchdown. Yeah.
But it's always Beamer ball.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I think I did a story on that, how comparing the number of block punts and special teams touchdowns in that span. That's a nice play.
Was that Tommy Pulley?
That's Tommy Pulley. Old T-Pull.
Was he saying Pulley or Pulley?
Well, Musburger called him Pulley the whole game. Every time he did a
with
Florida
the U
State game,
instead of the O, he pronounced it with the U.
Didn't he have a kid that was a recruit recently, or is he coming through the ranks?
I think it was a basketball recruit.
Basketball recruit? Okay.
I thought
that
so.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Because he was a basketball player. And in fact, that was a funny story.
It's 3rd and 2. Hold on, Corey. 3rd and 2.
Okay.
Big play.
Sorry.
Another stop there.
Now it's got 4th down. They're going to go for it. There's Bobby Rhodes in there. There was a funny story during now I'm going to start calling him Pulley. During Polly's recruitment, because Florida was recruiting him too, and he was a 2-sport star. He was a big-time basketball player at Dunbar High School, which was a legendary high school back then for basketball in Baltimore. And the legend goes, this is what Polly told other people, is he called Spurrier to tell him that he was choosing Florida State, and Spurrier said, "That's okay, you're better at basketball anyway."
Oh.
That sounds like Spurrier.
That does sound like Spurrier. So he always took glee and great glee in beating the Gators, which he did three of his last 3 years there.
There's actually a player on this current Florida State football team that Tommy Polly helped FSU get. Does anybody know who that is?
Oh, nice trivia question. Are we on the live on the YouTube? Is anybody...
AJ Litton? But he's gone. I think a Maryland
Nope.
guy.
Yep. You're on the right track.
All right, big play here. You save your trivia for later.
Oh, look at that.
Ball's loose.
Wow.
And that's crazy. He almost kicked it for a touchdown. Like, it was such a crazy fumble. He kicked it in the end zone. It actually worked out for Florida State. Instead of having the ball at the 4, they got it at the 20. But it was almost a Virginia Tech touchdown on the when the ball got kicked into the end zone.
Number 4 versus Corey Simon. Corey
kind of did a good job of boxing him out there.
Beamer thinks he was down.
Yeah, I don't know what Beamer was looking at. It wasn't going to be a first down anyway.
It was
It got
4th down.
blown
Yeah.
up.
Or maybe he's hoping that guy landed on it.
Who was that? Gibson? Was that Gibson in the backfield that was tackling Vick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Yep, that's a good play. That's first round pick doing things.
Answer to the trivia question was Josh Kando.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Nice. There's David Warren next to Corey Simon. David Warren was, I believe, the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year.
That is correct.
Didn't have an incredible career at Florida State, not one that comes with that. Like Derek Brooks was the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year, but he had a nice career, and he started on a national championship team.
Who was just talking about him the other day? It was who was it? We were talking to somebody, and he was saying that David Warren was. Oh, it was a Corey Simon. When we had Corey Simon on the podcast with Adrian, he said David Warren was an unbelievable athlete, but didn't have the desire at this level you need. Like,
Right.
Everybody's a great athlete at this level. You got to have the desire too. And he said David Warren just didn't have it. That's the only reason he didn't. But yeah, he was like the best player in the country, right? Or best defensive player in the country.
Yeah, he's the Defensive Player of the Year.
What's
Got a
going
little
on over
Texas kids, Ira.
That was kind of what Corey Simon was saying. It was actually an interesting topic. He was saying that he felt like a lot of times the kids in Texas and California or wherever, well, Texas particularly, they're more polished because they play. And it was echoing on somebody else had made that comment. Aslan, you guys talked about it on Wake Up. Somebody who made that comment about the kids being polished from other states. Was it Dion? Somebody, because you guys talked about it also.
I think somebody gave us a question about it. I don't know if any famous players.
They were asking it because somebody had made the comment, and that's what. And Corey brought it up also because of the same comment. But basically, what he was saying is the kids in Florida. A lot of times, the kids in Florida are more raw because they haven't been coached like they have been in Georgia or Texas or something like that. Those kids in Texas sometimes look awesome, but they're already they're the finished product. Like that's what you're going to get. And that was kind of one of the examples, I guess.
Yeah, but he had a nice career. I assume he was drafted. I don't know if he played in the NFL, but he had a decent career at Florida State, and again, started on a national championship team. So good work. Hey, and if you're just joining us, folks, we are about 30 seconds behind if you're watching it on the ACC Network. So pause your TV and wait, and we'll tell you to start it back up because we want it all get in sync and be able to watch it at the same time because those two don't have cable. So now we're showing the Superdome. So, we've moved ahead. 3:54 remains in the first quarter. All right, well, we didn't miss anything big.
Now, FSU had a 3 and out, and there was another stop. I don't know if they're going to have this, but Florida State got another stop on a drive by Virginia Tech. And
yeah, they must have because now Florida State's got the ball back. Yeah, we didn't miss anything. That's fine.
They're cutting this down to 2 hours, not like the game the other week where it was like the full replay every single play.
You missed a nice sack on Vick though, down in the goal line range.
That laser.
Jermaine Stringer.
Catch the ball, man. Get him off the field. Get this guy off the field now.
Oh,
he was a track guy. He wasn't. He never turned out to be a great receiver, but he was a really. I think he ran track for him. He was the fastest guy on the team. He had a big touchdown against Miami that year when Peter Warrick was out. So he's got the. Oh, Chris Winkie, what's going on, buddy?
That pass is why he was a 6 seed in our tournament.
All right.
Settle down.
Just saying.
Shots fired.
Settle down. Dugans ran the wrong route. Dugans cut in. He was supposed to cut out. So he was 28, right? He was 28 for this, or 27.
I think they said he's 27.
Yeah, he's 28 when he won the Heisman.
because he came back at 25.
Yeah.
Which, like back then,
so he was older then than Jameis Winston is right now.
That's a nice pass.
Wow.
The
Yep, there we go.
The thing is, like, 25 back then seemed unheard of, but now like half of BYU's team like 23 or 24. I mean, there's guys that are in their early to mid 20s throughout college football. No, I mean not a ton, but they're definitely. It's not 25
we
back
got
then.
a big play coming up here, guys.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, man. 27 sounds absurd.
Well, 27 does, but even 25 when he first came back, it sounded old. Man.
Little pump fake. That's a nice throw.
Oh boy, that's a nice
throw.
Now
watch when they do this replay, because the beauty of this is it's a slant and go, it's a sluggo, and watch the pump fake timing with Winky on the slant to get the DB to bite on it.
I was somewhere in that crowd. Pretty excited. Yeah, that kid had no chance. He did a nice horse collar at the end, but yeah, he had no real chance.
Odell's talking to Coach Bowden on the sideline like, you got him there, Coach.
Yep. Keep throwing it to him. So I guess go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I'm not digging the ACC Bojangles logo, because when the scoreboard pops out, it's behind it.
That's for us on the internet. Cable's not the issue, Corey. I have cable, but I'm in Tallahassee. Just Comcast doesn't have ACC Network, so I have to watch it on our laptop.
That's a fair point, buddy. That is a fair point.
Yeah, you said it like these guys don't have cable.
Yeah.
Or like the underprivileged.
Yeah. Well, you don't have cable, but even if you did have cable, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
That's perfect timing and just an incredible throw. Like the one he catches at the end is an awful throw. He just throws it up for grabs. He throws it.
We know he underthrew it, or
but that throw
had the guy beat, and Winky just underthrows it.
That was a white guy who ran him down. Look at that.
By the way, for any of our South Florida fans, I'm drinking the Flanagan's Cup. Got a whole selection in the cupboard. Corey, you've been to Flanagan's with me. Buddy.
I have. I've been there multiple times with you.
Good stuff.
What are you doing there, Ira? What do you got in the cup?
Oh, that's a straight Diet Coke, man. I would never drink on the job.
I know if we were breaking up, this was a day early happy hour if we were doing that.
If it was the War Chant happy hour, it would be different.
All right. Just want to make sure.
How's the ACC Network advertising going right now? What do you have on, Corey? We've got the
Ancestry.com.
Yeah, I got the Inogen one too.
I got Inogen.
It's pretty cool. You can get a free information kit, no obligation, no money down. I mean, that's pretty nice.
That's they're bringing in big bucks for that one.
Yeah, and I can't wait
right. One. Like David Coburn right now is just cha-ching, cha-ching.
he's just doing this. He's just making it rain. We got another Inogen ad.
The Bike Nook.
Now we got the Bike Nook coming up. All right.
We need to cut a deal so we can get a commission. So we're doing these live things. We get with these guys and we'll start giving out the phone number and the website and get commissions off of this.
I don't think there's that much money to go around here in the Bike Nook.
Everybody's buying the Bike Nook, all right?
This can't be $1 million idea, can it? Like, who wants a upside down bike in their living room? Just put it out in the garage.
Corey's hurting our commission here. You can't trash.
Oh, hey, here's this nice piece of art I bought. Let me put my bike right in front of it. Oh, yeah, try to sleep next to it.
Maybe if we promise to not rip the commercials, then they'll pay us. Like that we can hold them hostage.
I mean, that's going to be hard. I don't think I can make that promise. I mean, we literally got 45 seconds of the game.
Allison says it's great for the dorm. 2
hours of a Bike Nook commercial. This is an infomercial.
Did you see the thief running away with it? That was odd. The guy's he looked like he's a thief from like 1970s.
Well, he kind of looked like the the McDonald's? Remember him, the Hamburglar?
The Hamburglar.
Yeah. Look at that. You can get 4 in your garage and still back out. It keeps going.
So we're gonna have more commercial time than game time, I'm guessing.
What was that, Aslan?
No, I was like, Gene, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we should be timing how much commercials we're going to have versus game time. Right now, commercials are winning.
Yeah, a lot. And we're going to skip ahead to the third quarter now.
Yeah.
This Bike Nook commercial.
Yeah. This third quarter is brought to you by Bike Nook.
How much did this ad cost them? They got like a 5-minute ad on ACC Network.
Is it stuck? Oh,
No,
we're still got a commercial. All right, here we go.
Commercial. They're really appealing to the old people.
Yeah.
I just had
Except
a
for the
Reigns
bike nook
commercial.
ad.
It's not that.
There were no old people in that one.
Senior citizens are buying the bike nook.
No.
Now it's Campbell Canes. Do you have Canes? You got a
All
cane?
right,
cane
this is taking too long. I'm getting a beer.
All
Bye,
right.
Gene. Corey, do you have the cane commercial?
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, it's the revolutionary Campbell handle.
Just want to make sure we weren't. Look at that guy. He went from
So
punched
Robert
over to now he's
Smithson.
standing straight up.
Regular cane, posture cane. All right. Hey, whatever helps.
Michael Vick just ran for another 70 yards while we've been at this commercial.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how far they've skipped ahead. There's a money back guarantee, though.
Up, I think we're making some progress.
Okay, school takeovers. Hey, how much of the Boston College takeover did you watch, Ira?
You know what, man? I missed it. I thought they had one of the big hockey matches I missed. I wanted to see, but I couldn't.
Yeah, the Beantown Classic or whatever they call it when they play Boston U.
But I missed.
I think they had a basketball game from a couple years ago against Wake Forest, the one that they won that year.
I thought after that promo we would go to the game. Now we're going to one of the Brett Favre commercials. By the way, my man Brett, has Brett Favre ever turned down any ad ever?
No.
Did you hear the controversy he had like a year ago when he got into the Cameo ad trouble?
Oh, because he said like anti-Semitic stuff or something.
Yeah, it was like a right wing. It was like a right wing group. He didn't know what he was reading. They just gave him something to read.
Oh,
It was like, hey, this is Brett Favre for so and so, and it was all this coded language that he had no idea what it was. But yeah, you pay $200 to Brett, he'll read anything.
As long as it doesn't show us his junk, I'm cool with it.
Whoa,
Right.
now.
This is absurd, the amount of commercials. Hey, let's plug something on the website, Ira. What's going to be on warchant.com tomorrow?
Well, actually, there's a couple things. One is we just put up a story today from Mike Norvell talking about what they've been doing during the break. He had his little webinar today, so I put that story up today. And then tomorrow there's a board of trustees meeting, so there might be some news out of that about kind of the direction of the university. We'll be covering that in the morning. All right. And we're back. We're back.
We're seeing a replay of the throw again.
So they didn't jump ahead.
No.
Well,
Here we go. Let's see if Janikowski gets a touchback. I'm going to say it's a 90% chance he does. I'm going to go ahead and say he does. Let's see.
Nope.
I don't know. Yeah, no, he's bringing that out. Wise move, too.
that was short for him.
That must have been designed, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Did he kick that right-footed?
What's amazing when you watch this at the end of the game, he's booting them all out of the end zone. It's like every kick, his leg gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah. Oh, there's Roland Seymour, number 56. His career was kind of beset by injuries, but he was a big-time player, too. There's Theon Rackley in there. Jamal Reynolds, of course, was the first-round pick the next year.
Lombardi winner.
Yeah. Is he the only one
Slab of
Florida State's
granite.
had?
Yeah, I think so. He's the
Might be
slab
the
of granite.
Look at that.
trophy
Look at
guy.
this ridiculousness. This is just.
Look at Bud Foster. Wow.
He looks young there, huh? Whoop.
His glasses are awesome.
Oh, come on, Mike. Where are you going? Where are you going? This ain't Pitt. That's got to be intentional grounding, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
they threw a flag.
They actually beat Pitt 30-17 at Pitt Stadium that year.
That's right, they did. Because he was able to take a bad snap and just run to the other side and it turned into a 20-yard gain. Like, imagine what he must have done to what he did to this Florida State defense. Imagine what he was doing to the Syracuse defense or the Pitt defense. He could have run for 200 yards in any of those games.
That's like the head of SEC officiating now. Or I think he might have retired. I think that's Steve Shaw. Look at that.
I would know.
Oh, man, he got crushed, too. I'm right in that end zone, if anybody cares. That end zone that's that they're up against. That's right where we were sitting.
How high up were you?
I'm going to say about 20 rows,
That's
20,
not
25 rows. We were right next to the aisle, though, so it was easy to go right outside and get the beer. There you go. Nothing doing. A little toss sweep. They just gave up right there.
I think this is going to be a Pauly play coming up here.
You're right.
Who got the Pauly got the touchdown? Who got the block?
No, it was Chaney that got the touchdown. Pauly got
Pauly got the block. Chaney got the TD. That's right.
Another. We talk about Rock Preston a lot. We talked about him with Danny Cannell and how kind of underappreciated he was. Jeff Chaney, man, was a really good college football player.
Yep.
I don't know what they're doing with Durden back there returning a punt. I guess they knew they were going to block it and not have Peter Warrick back there. There you go, Beamer ball. Good job, Beamer ball. It's a really nice play by Chaney. That's a really. I mean, I'm not saying anything to say the Florida State running back was an athletic guy, but that's a pretty remarkably athletic play. Catch it on the run like that,
going sideways,
and then just in one motion, bend and get into the end zone.
Oh, Frank's not happy.
Nope.
Let's go.
None of them are happy. Look how dejected they are.
The onslaught. Let it begin. Ira, Mark on YouTube wants to know if the steak really was that much better out in El Paso.
It was really good. I mean, it wasn't like the best steak I've ever had, but it was 2 pounds.
Yeah,
Wasn't it? It was 2 pounds, right? I mean,
Cowboy.
so it was good, and it was 2 pounds. The volume, the quantity was part of the equation, not just the quality.
Pike
Your steak was good too, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was
Your
good.
steak-
I had the cowgirl. A little, moderation. Moderation.
what was that? The 1 pounder?
No, it was like a 1.5.
Pound and a half.
All right, that's still pretty solid.
Yeah, it's like 24 ounces.
Man, who is 31? You see that guy behind Polly? He had arms the size of your legs. That was crazy.
Oh,
I'm gonna look that up.
yeah.
I'm gonna look up who 31 was on the 1999 team because that was
He
incredible.
wasn't dressed out for the game, so
No, he wasn't. So he's probably be a red shirt. He was probably redshirting, I would think.
Oh, yeah, he's jacked. I'm a little bit behind you
Corey.
guys, obviously.
Since we're going to have another 20 minutes here before play resumes, why don't you promote a little bit what we did today in the next War Chat?
Come on, Gene. I was just looking up something, buddy.
All right, I'll
Gene.
do it.
By the way, Gene, what did you go get? What are you drinking?
I got myself a little Irish red. It's a diver down. I can show you here in the got it in the War Chant koozie right here. So mixing things up a little bit. You might even like it, Ira. It's not that heavy.
All right. And if you're a War Chant subscriber and you come to any of our live events, if we ever have those again, you can get some of those koozies because we give them out. Gene gives them out all the time.
Yes, we do. I got a big box of them here in the man cave. So now what I was saying is Corey and I got to do, we kind of bounced around with the War Chat. We did the 89 FSU Miami game. And that was a fun one. That was one I was in stands for. Corey was in the stands. And we had a player with us, and I'm sure you can guess who it was, who had probably one of the best defensive performances in an individual game playing FSU history. And Kirk was great with us, talking about we broke it down from beginning to end, all the great plays, what it was like, playing Miami that time, the rivalry, and just some great moments in that game.
Yeah, and it was the one time out of the 6-year run where Florida State beat them, and then Miami still won the national championship. But still, it was a fun night, fun moment, and Kirk was awesome. He gave us a lot of his time and went over the specific plays in that game. And until 98, maybe the choke at Doak in the fourth quarter, but until the 98 Florida game, I thought that was the loudest Doak Campbell Stadium's ever been, was that 89 game, that 89 Miami game, because it's just the way it started with the Butler pick and then Dexter.
You know what? I think, Corey, for beginning to end, I think that was the loudest. If you just went,
it was just
the fourth quarter, you're right. But I mean, because the way that game started in 89, I mean, it never got quiet.
No, at all. And we kept, and it was Miami. Like, it was the team that had cost you the national championship 2 years in a row. I really feel like we're getting close to returning to the game. So far, we've seen how many, we're 30 minutes in. How many football plays have we seen? 12?
10?
Maybe 15. Carruthers, not unlike Danny Cannell, also has held up really well. I saw him a few months ago, and he's another guy that looks like he played 5 years ago. And he's holding up better than sports writers do.
Well, what are you going to do, Ira?
Pike Stevo 22 says, I remember I was on a movie date during the game as a freshman in high school. Luckily, the guys working at the theater had it playing in the lobby. I took lots of, quote, breaks to catch the game.
Good call.
Move.
I hope it was a good date.
Bradley Taylor says he's been tailgating since kickoff of FSU Clemson this morning. Quarantine game day ain't that bad. Scalp him.
Very nice.
Yeah, they
George
showed the
Moore.
softball. They showed
George
the softball
Moore stopping by to
championship,
call you the GOAT, Ira.
George Moore, that's our guy.
There you go.
He's a good guy, really good guy. George Moore is a former FSU student, grad student. I think he has masters of FSU. Worked in the athletic department for a little while. Also worked at Publix. Shout out.
Okay.
The Thomasville Road store. He's a good, really good guy.
Are you tipping your cashiers at the grocery store, Ira? Corey
See,
shamed
here's
me
the
about
thing,
this
man.
on the podcast.
Is Corey tipping his cashiers?
Yeah,
Apparently.
I tipped the girl that rang it up and the kid that bagged it. I mean, I gave her a 10 and told her to split it.
What kind of store is that?
A grocery store?
But not a Publix.
No,
Publix is like anti-tipping, buddy.
Yeah.
I think
Publix-
unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures.
You're trying to get the Publix employees fired is what you're trying to do.
Well, I
right.
wasn't at a Publix. I was at an Ingles. So
Exactly.
that's Reggie Durden on the coverage there. There was a cornerback that got hurt in pregame warmups of this game. That's why. Oh man, would it have been Mario Edwards? We haven't seen him. I think Mario Edwards got hurt in pregame, and so obviously Reggie Durden was a good player too, and so was Cookie Thomas. But they had to play more than they would have because Mario Edwards got hurt in pregame. And Mario Edwards was like an all ACC guy.
That was kind of a ticky-tacky interference.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. They were trying to keep Virginia Tech in the game.
So did you fail in your effort to figure out who Big Swole was on the sideline?
I did. There wasn't a 31 on that roster, the 99 roster, and the 2000 roster, the number 31 was Bryant McFadden. And I know it was not Bryant McFadden.
No. So he would have been like a senior, probably walk-on.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh boy. Man, what happened to that throw? Did he hit the video board? I mean, it went off the screen.
Yeah,
like that commercial he used to have when he was playing where he threw it from one end of the field into the stands, like 100 yards.
He's looking at his thumb. He got a little issue with his thumb.
The lights. Couldn't see the lights.
But that kid was wide open. And I think they end up scoring on this drive on a similar type play where he just sprints right by Clavon Thomas.
The best thing about Cookie, he played 20 years in the AF arena, and he was like the superstar. And every year, whenever they were in the Arena Bowl, the Democrat would always do a big story about him and his. I mean, seriously, he must have played a decade in the Arena League.
Yeah, he was like the all-time best. He was like their Dick Butkus. Like he was the best arena football player of all. They'd name awards after him. You know who else had a big-time career in the Arena Football League was Damian Harrell. Gene, do you remember that name? He was the receiver.
I don't remember him doing a ton of stuff at Florida State.
No, he didn't. And he might have even transferred because he wasn't playing much at Florida State. They were pretty crowded in the receiving room then, but he ended up having a really long career in the AFL too.
I think you declined us.
That's a really bad face mask there.
Oh.
I mean, he literally there was 6 guys around. He had nowhere to go. And they gave him a first down, right? They would have had to punt right there. I didn't remember that play. They wouldn't have even scored on that drive. I'm with you, Bobby. Shaking your head there. Right? They wouldn't have scored on this drive if they hadn't a face mask for no reason.
What's that? Bobby's drinking out of a Charles Schwab cup? Was that what that was?
Yeah.
Wow. What were they getting paid for that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
More than the Bike Nook giving the ACC Network, I imagine. Look at Chuck. God bless you.
That was the peak dream staff, Amato and Mickey.
Bobby.
It's so funny, man. Like when I got here again, early 2000s, and Chuck had gone to NC State, the players like Stanford Samuels and all those guys who were still around, they loved Chuck so much. And then Chuck goes to NC State, and he's steadily beaten FSU. So everybody's got this impression of Chuck as this unbelievable coach. And then it goes south there. Then he comes back and joins the staff, and then he becomes a pariah because him and Jimbo hate each other. I mean, it was just what a 180 in like 7 or 8 years.
Well, I think I've told you the Phillip Rivers story with him, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, so I was writing for College Football News at the time when he got a job with the NC State job, and he already had a commitment from Phillip Rivers. Chuck pulled a scholarship, and so got down right before signing day, and the only offer he had was to Auburn as a tight end. And so at the last minute, because they didn't have any other options, they needed a quarterback. He took Phillip Rivers back.
Oh,
and
really?
Imagine what would have happened had that not happened, and he stuck to pulling the scholarship.
Yeah.
He would have fired a lot. He saved his ass for several
Yeah,
years.
he would have come to Florida State a lot quicker. Come back to Florida State. That was a really good play by Virginia Tech right there, and the kid just tripped. That was a well-designed play. He had a blocker out front, and he just fell down.
God, Corey Simon looks so young. Gosh.
Whole life ahead of him. 21 tackles for loss. That's a pretty good season.
Yeah, for an interior lineman, it's ridiculous.
What was
And
his
he,
seed in the bracket?
He's
I think this is
number
their
2,
touchdown.
I think. 2, I think.
What?
2 or 3.
Really? All right.
Yeah, just right by. That kid could really run. He was their fastest guy. Well, no.
Oh, yeah.
Number 7 was their fastest guy, but he was the second fastest guy on the team. That's awful camera work. That's a great throw. But man, Cookie couldn't. Well, it was a lot better than the one he threw off the scoreboard.
yeah.
He cut it down.
It was a great throw.
They should have
open
showed
by
Derek
15
Gibson.
yards.
It wasn't Derek Gibson's fault. He literally just ran right by the cornerback.
Pike Stevo 22 clarifies that he did not go on another date with that young lady. But hey, oh well, we got a championship, he says.
That's right. Yeah. You need to go start watching more movies while Florida State's playing.
It's our loss.
Yeah.
And David Hall with the token. Those unis, 3 fire emojis. 3 of them.
Yeah. Why would you want to go back to them? Yeah, that's just man to man. And it's like he had just done it 3 plays before, and he just gets off the line and just sprints by him. And look at the throw. Look at the area that Vick has to throw it to.
Yeah, not a lot of help there.
Well, I think they're crowding the line. They don't want him to run, so they're just bringing everybody up. So I think that was
Make him beat you with his arm.
what you get. Now we go to
good,
this commercial break. Ira, this is a good time for you to bring everybody up to date on what's going on with Seminole Madness.
Oh man, I need to pull out the whole bracket. But yeah, we just finished our lengthy first round in the Seminole Madness Bracket Challenge, where we're
When does
counting
the
down.
second round start? Tomorrow?
We're gonna
Monday.
wait till Monday. We're gonna
Okay.
let the excitement build up a few days,
Sure.
let it
Sure.
percolate, and might have Aslan might have Gene and I do another bracket video to promote it maybe over the weekend. Yeah, so we've gone through the first 32 matchups. So we're down to the round of 32, and only have a couple upsets. I mean, really, I guess maybe 2 or 3 upsets. We're gonna we got big news. We're gonna eliminate Twitter in the second round. They've lost their right. Twitter has lost. Sorry, Twitter, you guys have lost your right to vote. I mean, there's some of these votes were just crazy. I mean, like the Twitter was, if you played in 2010 and beyond, you're getting 90% of the vote on Twitter. So we're kicking them out, kicking them to the curb.
All right.
You got to be on the tribal council. Plus, we're getting like 500 or 600 votes every day on the tribal council, which is a good number. I mean, that's a good active, and I think it's going to get better as
Representation.
we go on. So, but yeah, and then but some huge matchups. What was what was the one we were talking about? You guys were talking about yesterday in the second round. It's going to be on the defensive line. It's going to be Boulware and Wilson.
Yeah, it's Boulware versus Wilson, and on the defensive line, it's also Peter Warrick versus Warrick Dunn.
That's the one big downside to this. What we did, for people that haven't gone, you can go to the site and see the brackets. But we put offensive playmakers in one round of 16, one bracket of 16, defensive playmakers. Then we did a legends and special teams bracket. Then we did linemen. The linemen really get short shrift here because now we've got Boulware and Renard Wilson meeting in the second round, whereas you wouldn't have that kind of matchup till maybe the third round.
Hey, you have to beat them one way or the other. You have to beat them at some time, Ira.
That's true. Good
You
point.
might as well
Good
try to
point.
beat them in the second round.
But it was our way to get special teams guys in, Janikowski and those guys, and then also the legends, which is guys that played pre-1985. So if you haven't voted yet, if you're not a tribal count, if you're not a War Chant subscriber, too bad. You can't do it on Twitter anymore. Come in, become a subscriber, and you can vote in the big contest. Second round starts on Monday, Corey.
There you go. Thanks, Ira. That was good. Hey, that was nice, man. That was well done.
Ira, what was the one glaring? There was one really bad one on Twitter. It was weird. The guy had like one slightly on War Chant, but it was like,
I think it was Trey Thomas and Pat Tomerlin. Like Pat Tomerlin, was basically a 4-year starter on the offensive line. Trey Thomas played in the league, so that's how a lot of people I think know him. And Trey Thomas only started 1 year at Florida State. And I mean, your NFL career is a big part of it as well, obviously. But Trey Thomas, it was like 50-50 on the Tribal Council. On Twitter, it was like 90% to 10% for Trey Thomas. So that was the straw. And we're back to football.
wow,
Started the second quarter. There you go. That's just pitch and catch right there. That's our man Ronnie D. I think. Isn't that Dugans?
Looks like
You got a little ahead of us here. Is that let me see is this the one right in between? He splits the guys.
Yeah, I mean they haven't shown that. That was just a 7-yard out. But
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of Charles Schwab cups. Look at all those Charles Schwab cups.
all the cups are Charles Schwab.
Even the water bottles are Charles Schwab.
Nice endorsement deal.
What's Nokia got to do to get their name on a cup? They just get midfield and that's it?
It'll
There's
always
Travis
be the
Snyder.
USF&G Sugar Bowl to me.
There you go. Hey, man, I camped out for USF&G Sugar Bowl when I was in college.
So this guy's a maniac. So they're showing this Corey Moore guy who was their All-American defensive end.
Oh, he's screaming, yeah.
And he's screaming at the quarterback or screaming at the cameraman saying, get that camera out of my face or I promise you I'm going to beat your ass or whatever he says. But if you go back and read his transcripts from like the media day, 3 days before that, he was a maniac. He was like Brian Stork on steroids. That's a good throw. Man, and you get to see Jermaine Stringer's speed right there.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Oh, tracking down.
Oh, man. Deuces.
Oh, I love how they go right to Frank on that one.
Yeah.
Man,
A little reminiscent of another national championship when a wide receiver kind of split the uprights there on the field.
Yeah, except he didn't get horse collared at the end.
Yeah.
was Winky staring at their sideline as he was running down there?
I mean, he did that the whole game, Ira. I don't know how much noise they talked, but every time he made a play, he turned to their sideline.
Think he was saying gobble gobble?
Probably doing a chicken dance. Wait till you see him after the when he hits when Warrick catches the one that ices it in the fourth quarter. He does like a wrestling hip thrust to the whole Virginia Tech sideline.
Well, he goes up to one of their linemen and he says something after the play too. He goes out of his way to tell him something.
I mean, that's just a perfect pass, man. I mean, that was really good coverage.
Anquan Bolden chilling on the sideline, not in uniform.
Yeah, he played that year. Obviously, he was hurt. I wonder what the deal was.
I thought he played in the game a little bit later.
He doesn't look like he doesn't look like he has pads on.
I could have swore I saw him in the game.
So Peter Warrick and Anquan were on that team, and Randy Moss is on the sidelines in that game.
Yeah, they show that. Imagine, I know that's one of your things, Corey. If you would have had, imagine Peter Warrick and Moss together.
Yeah, 96 turns out differently for sure. So does 97 probably.
George Moore asks, how do you guys view this game? I've always viewed it as a blowout, but I watched that Mike Vick 30 for 30, and they really made it seem like Virginia Tech was in this game. What would y'all say? Gene?
Well, they were. We're going to see it here. It's crazy because Florida State gets out, I think, to a 28-7 lead, and you think this thing's going to be a blowout. And then watch at the end of the half and into the third quarter, Virginia Tech comes back and actually takes the lead. And it's good as we've seen Michael Vick. If you keep watching this, some of the runs he's pulled off, I've never seen before. I've never seen a quarterback do this in my life. So he keeps doing that, and they take the lead. So, I mean, it really was, and going into that fourth quarter, it was anybody's game. Now, we mentioned it earlier. Florida State had to wear them out, basically, on both sides of the ball, and then they pulled away at the end. But this is a lot closer than the final score indicated.
But I think George's point is, at the time, when Florida State gets out to the big lead, you're thinking, okay, it's going to be a rout. And then Virginia Tech comes back and rallies and throws a scare in them, and then Florida State pulls back away. Whereas in that 30 for 30, you thought Michael Vick just torched Florida State.
Oh, yeah. No, that wasn't the
I mean,
case.
he did have a huge game, but it was like if you just watched that 30 for 30, you wouldn't realize that Florida State won the game.
You wouldn't realize that Peter Warrick was the MVP.
Well, if you listen to this game, you go back to it. I mean, I remember afterwards, a lot of the people, because I was at the game, covered it, talked to a lot of fans, but you got back and there's a lot of people complained that watched this game because he said Musburger and all they would do was rave about Michael Vick the whole game and kind of forgot the fact that Florida State won this game by multiple scores and what the game Peter Warrick had.
Yeah, Peter Warrick was really good. Yeah, I think he's about to make a play here as soon as we get done with this. Why would you want a fried egg to go off the hood of your car? What does that prove? Just how slick the wax job is?
The ceramic trademarks formula, man. Yeah.
Okay,
Keeps
all right.
sparkling.
Aslan, how would Musburger do today if Musburger was in his prime today with Twitter? How would he fare?
Oh, man. Yeah. But he was really good in the 80s, though.
No, he
if you're talking
was,
about prime
but
Musburger, like,
I'm just saying, like, Twitter, they just chew up every announcer.
yeah.
And he definitely provided some material.
Yeah, he was
Especially-
kind of at the beginning of Twitter, though, because remember the thing he said about McCarron's girlfriend?
Yeah.
And then he also said when Auburn beat it and they were kicking the game-winning field goal to beat Oregon for the national championship, he said, "This is for all the Tostitos."
But he
It was
also
the
had
Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. He got a little grief for that.
But he also had kind of like the old man pass at that point.
Yeah,
too.
oh, no, he definitely did.
Hey, we never would have had Jen Sturger if it wasn't for Brent speaking out.
Well, you're right. What is this play, Virginia Tech? Oh, wow, it worked out.
Man, how far
You're
ahead
ahead
have
of
you gotten
you're,
me here?
yeah, you're ahead of
Go
us
ahead.
now.
Oh,
Jenner
sorry.
just put
Pause it.
we just put total leather out here in New Orleans. Your message on Nikowski kicks it in the end zone.
Is it a fake end around or fake reverse
Yeah.
on the kick return?
Y'all tell me when he's tackled, and I'll start it up again.
He's on the ground. He's on the ground. We're up the line for first down.
All right.
And off stuffed up the middle.
Is that Bradley? Is that Monster making a play right there? Good job. I remember Bobby Rhodes playing so much. He's in a lot of plays.
He came in, here's the thing. I think later in the game, Pauly gets hurt. I think he actually tears his ACL in this game, and then Rhodes has to go in full time. But I remember I don't know if they talked to Mickey here earlier. We talked about he went in going, we're going to substitute a lot because, again, the depth issue. So he went out of his way to play a lot of guys in this game.
That's where Leonard Hamilton got it from.
Florida State's
That's what it
defense.
was.
All right, he's going to start. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Look at this, man.
But what Florida State's defensive line did a great job of there, though, they really did a good job of containing. Like, there was 2 or 3 different times in that scramble where, bad defenses go for the kill shot and then he spins out and runs for 30 yards. But you can tell they did a really good job of containing on both sides. And then they get the offensive.
Obviously, the Florida State defensive ends, they haven't faced a quarterback they can't track down all season. But this is the guy, and it does show a lot of discipline to not even try it. You're not gonna tackle that dude one-on-one. But if you leave your lane, if you leave where you're supposed to be, you could give him a 30-yard run. So yeah, they did a really good job of kind of staying where they were supposed to.
I think they're going to end up having
to say that as Jerry Johnson falls down, but.
And you're right, Gene. Second quarter, complete tear of the ACL.
Oh, he did it in the second quarter?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Pauly.
Yeah.
Oh, do you really? Wow.
But the crazy thing I do remember, because I covered the team at the time, was he was like released medically to come back in like 4 or 5 months. I mean, it was nuts. He had just incredible, whatever it was, genetics or something. But I mean, he came back and he started the first game of the next season. How often do you see a guy tear his ACL in a bowl game in January and start the first game in September?
The best ever was Cromartie. Cromartie, when he tore his that summer in the summer workouts when we were out there, we used to be able to cover the summer workouts, and Cromartie tore his knee just during player run passing drills. And so that was probably like in July. And he wanted to come back and play against Florida in November. And he was furious because they wouldn't let him play 4 or 5 months after. And then he ended up getting ready and going through all the workouts and becoming a first round pick, like 7 months after an ACL.
Yeah. Well, that might be the worst Aflac trivia question of all time.
What was that? I didn't even see it.
What is a Hokie?
Ooh. As they showed the mascot.
Yeah.
Well, no, the answer is when they come back on it, they say it's nothing. It was just a made up lyric.
Yeah, it's like a cheer.
A long time ago. Now they eventually brought in the turkey, but really it was nothing.
There's where Michael Vick kind of lets you down a little bit.
Oh.
He's got a guy wide open in the middle of the field for a first down on 3rd and 23, and he can't throw it to him.
I don't know what they're doing having Warrick back to punt return this. I don't think.
Yeah, what it was Durden must have been tired.
Michael Langston has joined the chat of recruiting fame. Michael, what's going on with JT Daniels? Southern Cal quarterback is transferring. Tell him to come to Tallahassee. Give him a call. Keep scrolling. Why not?
That's pretty good turn.
That's big news, man. The whole country's going to go after that kid. So he started as a true freshman for them. He was the #1 quarterback in the country.
Sorry to be quiet. Peter Warrick's talking. Peter Warrick's about to make a play.
Uh-oh.
Watch the end of this. The Virginia Tech guy who's trailing him punches the wall as Pete's going in the end zone. It's great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I almost had him.
Yeah, it's pretty upset. And it's another special teams meltdown by Beamer Ball. Not only do they, it's a horrible punt.
Why are you kicking it to Pete? Come on.
Well, he might not have meant to. Maybe I bet I'm in there somewhere. That was a horrible punt that he had to catch on a hop, and then it's just Peter Warrick doing what he does, playing with an earring. Like Peter this Warrick first guy, you're not even there.
Why are those guys running up field like that?
Yeah, they weren't coached well, Ira. Forget the hype. Don't believe the media hype. They weren't coached well.
Seriously, Peter Warrick took off his helmet. He looked like he could go to dinner. His hair was perfectly.
Yeah. There's no sweat.
His earrings.
Yeah.
He looked like you could just take off his helmet and walk into a restaurant. Look at him.
Yeah, there's no sweat at all. He's not breathing hard. Yeah. Austin had no chance there. And then whoever this guy is, there's the Heisman. He's just flopping at air.
All right, now we got a bug commercial. Great.
We can officially say P-Dub is the best Bradenton had to offer Florida State.
Oh,
hey, man. Come on.
Too soon? Too soon?
Too soon. I'm getting something to drink.
It's never too soon to bash Willie.
Got any commentary, Aslan?
Mark from YouTube, who's also a subscriber, Mad AMCZ on Word Chant, says, speaking of special teams, do you guys think Norvell gets FSU into a top 5 special teams unit like he did at Memphis every year?
It's pretty cool that was like the first thing he wanted to talk about. And he talked about it, really wherever he's been, that's his #1 goal. And actually interesting on that call today that he did with the boosters that I wrote about on the site. I didn't mention this in the story, but I'm going to come back later and do something on this. But he really raved about John Papuchis, the new special teams coach. And Aslan, you remember from when we interviewed him early in the spring, that he talked about Papuchis talked about how when he was at Maryland, they were #1 or #2 in the country in these metrics for special teams, and he kept seeing Memphis as being like the other team that was right up there. And then so when Norvell called him, he was excited because he knew how much Norvell cared about special teams. So yeah, how cool would that be to see Florida State good on special teams again? It feels like it's been a minute.
Wouldn't that be kind of a big ask in year one? Weren't they like last or pretty near the bottom of the rung to go from that to top 5 in one season? I think it's going to be incredibly better. It's got nowhere to go but up. But let's give it a year or two before maybe we're thinking top 5.
But no, but the question though, eventually though. I don't know if did he mean this season or did he just mean in general? But either way, I think the is going to be there. And how hard? It should be. If you've got better athletes and they play hard and they're at least have a good scheme, it shouldn't be that hard. Good grief! Remember 2 years ago? Oh man!
But
we all remember it, Ira.
Well, Corey and I have done a lot of these war chant things, and one thing that I'm going back and I'm watching some of these games on YouTube, and it's amazing when you look at the players, the star players on defense that are on special teams back there. Like, wait a minute, these guys are like first-round draft picks, and they're sitting there on punt cover and all that kind of stuff. So, that's kind of like what I think we're going back to now. You're going to see as Norvell talked about, the top players. I mean, they're going to put a huge emphasis on special teams. So I think I think it'll be dramatically improved right away.
That's one thing Jimbo did. Now, his special teams weren't always good, but he always believed in playing his good players on special teams. He had Jalen Ramsey returning kicks.
Man, this
Josh
Copper
Green was a
commercial.
punt returner.
Could you imagine if you showed up at a pickup like flag football game on a Sunday afternoon and Jerry Rice and Brett Favre showed up?
Whoa, they jumped ahead. They jumped ahead here. I don't know if you guys are with me, right? All of a sudden, Michael Vick's just running in the end zone.
I'm still watching Brett Favre.
I'm still watching Brett Favre and Jerry Rice.
And I'll hit the pause here.
We got some parachuter on a Subaru commercial.
Yep. Now Michael Vick just scored right now.
Okay.
He's dancing down.
And he does a little shimmy, yeah. You know what's crazy about that? I guess we just lost the whole quarter. Hey, but at least they showed the Hobart-Syracuse lacrosse game in its entirety. You wouldn't want to show one of the rare national championships your conference has ever gotten in its entirety. But anyway.
That one.
They did like 2 weeks ago, man. They got to fit all this into one day.
Yeah, and actually, I think they're showing the Auburn one right after this.
Yeah.
At least it's 3 hours. Oh, no, not a good throw.
Not a great route either.
But I remember Florida State had the ball when I rewatched this game 15 years ago. Florida State had the ball and a 28-7 lead, and Bowden is being interviewed by Lynn Swan in the middle of a play.
Yeah.
And it's a trick play. So it's like a double pass or something. And so Bowden is like, wait, hold on. Hey, there's Keith Cottrell.
He
Putting out of the end zone. Let's see what he gets off here. Was he a junior on this team?
I asked him to come. An hour before this, I asked him if he wanted to come on. He said he was grilling out. Too busy. He was grilling out. But he said he would come on.
I mean, that was.
Hey, one of the things they skipped, and I know Corey's on the whole Beamer ball thing. At the end of the second quarter, Virginia Tech tried a fake field goal that got snuffed out as well.
Oh,
really?
Right here coming up. That must be coming
No,
up.
or they skipped past it. They didn't show up. It was in the second quarter.
Oh, we're already in the third. Wow, that was quick. We
We're in
went
the third?
from yeah,
Wow.
9 minutes left in the third.
That was a nifty little play to the
That was
fullback.
a nice
Fullback,
play.
man.
Good hustle by Jerry Johnson there. Yeah.
The throwbacks usually worked pretty effectively against Mickey.
Yeah.
One of the things they mentioned, I think they skipped it right at the beginning when I did the replay, is they said beginning of the third quarter, Michael Vick had been hit 17 times in the first half. So I'm guessing it was 30 plus by the end of the game, and you saw a pretty good one here.
Yeah. That doesn't feel good on the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
And this is not the synthetic turf we have now. Have you ever been down, walked on that field? The old days? I mean, it's like cement with a very thin layer of fake grass on there.
There's that's Sean Key, Theon Rackley. Theon Rackley's playing a lot too. Sean Key was a really good safety for them. I think he was a multiple year starter.
Do you think they based the Theon character in Game of Thrones off Theon Rackley, Corey?
Probably, I would imagine. There's the band hopping around again.
Nerds.
This is before Metallica, though, for them, right? Huh?
I think so.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't remember them playing Enter Sandman that day. They're not getting a whole lot just running up the middle. It's more of the Michael Vick and their running backs. I don't feel like had great games. I know their running back had a nice run here in this quarter.
He has a few, but it's always off an option or something when everybody keys on.
Yeah.
Vic.
Wow, look at that stat. Their last four opponents were combined 1 of 29 on third downs. Florida State.
Florida Gators.
Yeah. Wow. That's a crazy stat.
Make that man a statue.
Exactly right.
Oh boy, here we go. One of these crazy runs again. Whoa! Takes
On
you
a fumble too. That's what can you do there, man? That's a great hit. You might as well.
Yeah.
I've always said, number one, does he even throw the flag? Because he got knocked down. He might not remember to throw the flag. Like if you're
Even
gonna,
if he did,
if
it
you're
goes
gonna
an
knock a
inch.
guy out of bounds late, hit him into the referee that's supposed to throw the flag, because he's not going to throw it while he's sitting down.
Wow, they
At all.
spot him before the first down, too.
Well, Musburger made that comment. If you're actually listening to this, you'll hear he made a comment that might have been the guy who would have thrown the flag, but he got taken out of the play.
So that's smart. And also, if you're going to knock a guy like Vick out well after the play, that's crazy. That wasn't a personal foul. Do it when he's at the 1. What do you have to lose? Oh, he's at the 6. Man, that was a terrible spot.
Bad spot.
They're not kicking a field goal. What are they doing?
Yeah, they do here.
Wow, I didn't remember
Take
that
the
at all.
points. Take the points, man. Always take the points.
He faked one earlier and didn't get anything, so they had to.
That was
get some
kind of a bad break for the Hokies there. Not only did their quarterback get hit 6 yards out of bounds,
It wasn't-
but then they got a terrible spot and had to kick a field goal.
ACC
I don't know.
refs, man.
Fourth and 2, I'm inside the 10-yard line. I'm just saying, Vic, just run around and find some place to get 2 yards.
Michael Langston says, wouldn't it be a bad move, JT Daniels, with the new staff having a previous bond? No doubt fits what Norvell wants in a passer. There's your recruiting note for the night. Yeah, thanks.
Wow.
It fits. Thanks,
Namaste.
Michael. I think for people that haven't been on the internets too much today. So yeah, this kid was number 1 quarterback in the country 2 years ago. Started as a true freshman for USC. They were not very good, but he started, and then he got hurt early last year, sat out the rest of the year, and then now just decides he wants to go in the transfer portal. But he hasn't said he won't. There's like a chance he might go back to USC. But the big question is if he gets cleared. I mean, if they change that, if they pass that one-time transfer policy, which they're going to talk about this summer, the NCAA, he could be eligible this fall. And Florida State's definitely West Coast kid. Florida State has some connections to him apparently. So that would be interesting.
So what? Florida State needs a quarterback? Is that what you're saying, Aaron?
I mean, it's you can always add to the room. It's a good room already. I don't know how Chubba Purdy would feel about it or Tate Rodemaker, but hey, we all got to be grown-ups here.
Well,
have you texted Sean to 303030 yet for your hip hop ads?
I like the yeah. I mean yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen you move. I haven't seen you get on your phone to text them yet.
Yeah. I'll maybe I already ordered mine. What do you think? Seriously, what do you think Sean is paying the ACC Network?
I mean,
$20.
like $10 every time they show it. I guess I don't know.
Every time somebody texts Sean to that number, he gives the ACC $1.
Yeah. I don't feel like the network is going to be a boon quite yet until I start seeing different commercials.
Like maybe like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Or
Yeah, Delta.
McDonald's.
Yeah, anything that we've heard of before.
I don't know what you guys are seeing. I'm getting all PSAs now.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
got this is a good Rex here.
Oh, all right. I'm getting different ads.
Good RX. Good drugs.
Hey, we got a question here. How about you take this one, Gene? Speaking of Cromartie from earlier, who would you guys have rather wanted to see with a full career at FSU? Derwin James or Antonio Cromartie?
Probably Cromartie back then, because I remember that spring when I covered, it was the most dominating springs I'd ever seen before he got hurt. I mean, I remember the stat. I think Mickey had told me when they went through film, the entire spring and all the 11 on 11s, whatever, he gave up one pass for 5 yards. I mean, he was just a ridiculous lockdown cornerback. He was on top of his game, and the same thing that summer. He was just dominating. I would have loved to have seen what he could have done, that year before he went pro. Obviously, Derwin would have been a lot of fun too, but man, I just always want to see Cromartie. We saw what he did, at least for a couple of years in the league. He was pretty outstanding as well.
He even caught a pass either at a scrimmage or like a spring game. I remember him actually catching a pass, like a bomb, like a 60-yard touchdown. And I was like, oh, they're going to rainbow offense. They're going to put Cromartie out there a little bit. That did not work out.
Yeah, he also was a better return guy, and those were better teams. They weren't great, but they were better than, for the most part, the end of Derwin's time. So they would have been more valuable.
All right, we're back. Virginia Tech's about to make their little run here, I think.
Well, they're
this
in the
was a bad. If you go back and watch, this is a bad. There was 6 series in a row that were just horrible for the offense. I mean, Winky was way off, and guys were out of sync. And again, it goes back probably having that huge layoff, but for whatever reason, they just did not look good here for a while.
Nick
getting the
Maddox
lead.
there. Returning
Nick Maddox.
the touchback, yeah.
Hey, if we have a lull later, remind me to tell you my Nick Maddox story. It's a funny one.
I can't believe they spotted him at the 6, and he gets hit. So they ruled him out of bounds at the 6. He got
like
hit
3
at
yards
the
out.
goal line.
Hit at the 1.
He got hit at the goal line, and it's not a personal foul.
It's a different era, Corey. Different times.
Yeah, the thing about Winky that year was his ability after they get that, like the other team would go ahead. I think literally it happened 6 times that year. And every time the other team went ahead, he led a touchdown drive immediately on the next drive, including in the Swamp, including in this game. There was another game too.
Clemson.
What's the game where
Clemson, sure.
was it in this game after Virginia Tech got the lead where he like went in the huddle and had some comment that just rallied everybody? There's some story about like Winky going in the huddle after like somebody took a lead and basically like F those guys, we're about to and then,
probably. I mean that
was it the play to Snoop?
There was Snoop for 6 right there. Yeah, it could have been that play. It could have been the play in the Swamp when he hit Snoop to kind of put it away.
Now, did they find? I know that Georgia Tech game in Tallahassee was really close that year. Did they fall behind in that one, Corey? Do you remember?
That was. Oh, come on! Who dropped that? Snoop. Come on, man! Come on, man!
Snoop.
Old Snoop just wouldn't show up in bowl games, would he?
Was Snoop projected
Hey-o.
to be any more
Little
season
league
2000?
next year.
Come on now.
Sorry.
Call for. What are you saying, Asla?
Was Snoop projected to be the guy in 2000?
No.
Or just kind of happened, right?
Yeah, no, not. I mean, everybody knew who he was, and he had a nice. I mean, I think because I wrote about him in the bracket thing. Like his first 3 years, he had like 40 catches combined or something, and then that year he had 1,300 yards receiving. I don't think anybody saw that kind of production. Wow, look at Cottrell.
Nice punt, Cotty.
That was a bomb.
And
Now, I don't like the coverage.
Yeah.
It looks like he might have outkicked his coverage a little bit.
On the tackle.
He made a tackle, though. Okay,
Look
you
at
made a tackle. Keith, I'm not blaming you for that. That was a great punt. I don't know what your teammates were doing there, but it was a good tackle. Kept him out of the end zone. I mean, that must have been a 55-yard punt.
Oh, a couple of nice blocks there. I would have liked to have.
Hey, Beamer ball, right? They don't call it that for nothing, Ira.
Look at that. Retraced. Cottrell showed him some athleticism.
Yeah.
Hey,
he was a high school quarterback.
That's what I was going to say. I would love to have seen his high school quarterback tape.
He was like a good enough quarterback that he got offered from real schools to play quarterback. It wasn't exactly a crushing hit.
Hey.
It got the job done, though.
We've seen some worse.
I blame Snoop for that punt anyway. He can't be dropping that. And let's see what old Vick's got on his bag of sleeves. Here he goes.
His bag of sleeves?
That's a saying, right? Isn't that what people say?
Bag of tricks, up your sleeve, bag of sleeves.
What's he? Yeah.
Bag of sweets?
Bag of sweets.
That's he did. I mean, but that was an amazing play just to buy the time to throw that ball.
What is right tackle or left tackle almost took him out?
Yeah, he did that a lot where he would just spin around, do a spinny do in the middle, like the EJ Manuel thing, but not get tackled. Like he would. I mean, it just there had never been anybody that played the quarterback position like this.
I feel like if there was a movie made about Frank Beamer, Billy Bob Thornton would have to play him.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of good nights in that place, right, Ira?
Around that place, yeah.
Around that place, yeah. A couple streets up the road.
Old
Old Lynn Swan.
Everybody wants to know what you have in your Fanta, Corey. Just straight up Fanta, right? Or Sunkist?
Yeah. I'm not getting crazy with it. I need a fresh mind.
What would you mix with it, Corey? A little Southern Comfort?
Probably some Ultra.
Oh no. Oh,
Yep.
no.
That's what Michael Vick does to you.
Oh boy.
You gotta stay on the quarterback.
Are you guys getting nervous at all?
Oh yeah, man.
You and Gene at the game and stuff? Like, oh, ruh-roh.
That's mid-third quarter. One
Yeah,
score.
and you've given up 17 straight points.
and there's more to come. But yeah, I'm sitting there. I'm a little because you're up 28-7. You're just thinking they're going to be boat race. This is going to be a cakewalk. So yeah, it's definitely it's nervous time here. But you knew the offense was going to. They were in a rut for a while, but you knew at some point they're going to start clicking again.
But you start doing like the accounting in your head, and you're like, well, yeah, there's 28 points, but 2 of them were special teams. Like the offense has only put 14 on the board, and both were big plays. They haven't sustained the drive the whole game. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech just keeps going into that end zone. They had to burn a timeout right there. Oh, I guess they're going for 2. They're not going for. Why would they go for 2?
Yeah. Well, they're getting ripped by Musburger and the broadcasters about going for 2 again.
Making a field goal.
Derek Gibson got washed out there.
Yeah. But yeah, and it all starts with Vick because you've got to concentrate. Somebody threw something at him. I can't believe they wasted a timeout.
I like to call it assignment football, Corey. That's what I call it.
They're going for 2. There's 20 minutes left in the game.
There's blood in the water.
He didn't deserve a championship.
Her first
didn't deserve it.
Conversion of the season.
There's just no reason for this, Frank.
Man. He got buried.
And you got your quarterback drilled.
He got buried.
He should have been on the sideline sipping from his Charles Schwab cup while the kid kicks the extra point. That's crazy to go for 2 right there.
They didn't have the little card. They didn't have the little cards.
No, I guess not. And then he went for 2. He had to go for 2 again after the next touchdown, and they don't get that either.
Yeah, they don't get it either.
Oh, Bradley Jennings,
old monster.
And his legacy is coming to Florida State next year. Brandon Jennings.
That's right.
He's got a few claims to fame. Obviously, he was a starting linebacker on a national championship team, and his kid is coming and is a big-time recruit. And then he also was the reason Chris Winkie ever played quarterback at Florida State.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because of Kendra.
He tore up Kendra's knee in the spring game.
Oh, you're right. Oh, we got the lunch. We got the lunch pail. We got the lunch pail. My favorite. It's amazing.
Do you think they still have the same lunch pail this year?
When they started 18, the 18 season playing Virginia Tech, I remember at kickoff, we kept interviewing all the Virginia Tech guys, and I followed them in the atrium or the lobby at the hotel where ACC kickoff was. And yeah, that thing is alive. It looks
it's the same lunch pail with the same dumb writing that looks like a kindergartner did it.
I'm telling you, if I could get the still image of it and everything, maybe I'll see if I can. It looked very.
That was a great.
Very darn.
That was a great kickoff.
Not too great for Nick Maddox. Oh no.
Yeah, he did all right.
That was a great kickoff. Like a
got
yard
bodies.
back in the corner.
Hey, he got to the 21, Irie. He got a yard they didn't have. You got to bring that out.
If they go to a break, I'm telling them. If they go to a break, I'm telling my Nick Maddox story.
Okay.
They're not going.
We'll remind you.
They're not. Offense is coming out.
I watched the 2002 Miami game a little bit the other night. Nick Maddox had a good run in that game. Yep.
Greg Jones went off, right?
Yeah, him and Maddox both. Yeah.
Oh, it was all Greg Jones, but Nick Maddox had a real good run in the first half.
Oh.
Temper's flaring a little bit.
Oh, that's gonna cost him this drive right there.
Did they flag that?
Yep.
Oh, Pete.
And it was Was it the retaliation?
Well, yeah, the guy pushed him and he shouldn't have, but then Warrick hit him in the helmet, so that's what they got.
He's scoring.
What was that, Aslan?
That was me. I'm trying to pull up that video, see if I can find the lunch pail shot. See if I even put it in this wrap up that we did. My suit looked real good.
Oh, dead ball.
The same blue polo you're always wearing. Oh, Willie.
I mean, he's got a little cushion there. Good grief. He's not even in the picture yet.
So the guy shoves him. It's
It's a shove right there, and then he does that.
You can't.
Yeah, come on. You got to let that go. There's a shove there. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess. You could have told him, hey, don't do that again, or you could have given him a 15-yard penalty.
You could have just said, hey, dude, why do you have to give me a 20-yard cushion every route?
Yeah. Little baby. Thought you're here to play football. So it's 1st and 12. That's like the first positive play they've shown from the Florida State offense in a year, and then it's a personal foul.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's not a great throw by Wink.
Not loving that play call, to be honest with you.
Well, they were. I think they were getting a little rattled, Ira. They were trying to stem the tide. They had the best player on the field, so they're like, "All right, we got to get the momentum back. Let's get it to Peter. And,
get it back on one play.
Threw it right into double coverage. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's not even a read. It's play action, and they just throws it up for grabs. Like,
yeah, it wasn't.
I guess he reads it briefly, but yeah, nothing good about that play.
The receiver in the middle of the field looked to be
the underneath was wide open.
Yeah, wide open.
It's a bad read by Winky. Maybe Winky was getting a little rattled.
See, James Blackman, even Heisman Trophy winners make the wrong read. It's all right, man.
This is when I would have put Outson in the game. I'd have seen enough. Sorry, Chris, we can't do this anymore.
By the way, our Michael Langston points out that Bradley Jennings Jr., his nickname is Godzilla. He's much faster than his dad for sure, says Langston.
It's Brandon Jennings. He is. But he is. He's apparently just a freak.
So that family has really good nicknames, I guess, is what we're saying.
Yeah, he's Godzilla. Dad was Monster. I don't know what the kid that went to Miami is. I don't know what his nickname is.
Mothra, maybe.
Maybe.
Mothra.
The guy's last name is Midget?
Yeah, he's good.
Mijay?
Well, it's Little Person now.
Mijay.
It's Anthony Little Person now. That was it was good to see Michael Vick look unathletic for a play.
Nice screen.
Now they come back with a throwback. It's wide open again.
Fullback, second time they've done that.
Yeah.
Mickey's not respecting the fullbacks or tight ends on the throwbacks.
No.
That's going to be there all day.
And it would be for the next 10 years. He wouldn't look at that.
I'm going to focus on the fast guys. You can throw the throwbacks to the slow guys.
Heath Miller's still open.
And every Miami tight end.
Yeah. Hey, Mickey, we love you. Honestly, we do. But come on, cover a tight end.
That was a good
really
play.
well-designed play, and there's nobody over there. And yeah, it's a huge loss not to have Polly too. That should be pointed out.
Who replaced him?
Or Foley.
I think Bobby Rhodes and Theon Rackley maybe took turns replacing him. Bobby Rhodes was in there though with him, so I don't know if Rackley is who came on for him. So yeah, they're down right now. They're down Tommy Polly, and then they lost Mario Edwards before the game even started. So they're down two all ACC starters. Look at those jackets the band was wearing. Old school.
Did Bert ever donate stuff to the band? He should have.
Probably. I would guess he would. Oh, Bobby Rhodes isn't going to catch Michael Vick.
I mean, that run's just ridiculous.
Hey, Bobby Rhodes landed on him, though. All right, I'll give you back. He landed on him. That's just, what are you going to do? What can you do there?
I got a deep cut Tommy Polly story. It's the only Tommy Polly reference I've got. So when in the early 2000s, when Kirby Smart was a GA here, Cliff Hammonds was a football basketball recruit in South Georgia. Everybody remembers he ended up being a basketball star at Clemson, beat Florida State a couple times when he's at Clemson. Really nice player. Kirby wanted Mickey and the staff to sign him as a football player. And Kirby swore he would have been the next Cliff Hammonds or next Tommy Polly. And he ended up, they didn't recruit him for football. He would have, if they would have signed him for football, he would have come to Florida State. He ends up going to Clemson in basketball. And his one of his sisters works in the FSU athletics department. So it's one big happy family.
But Kirby doesn't know what he's talking about, Ira.
Good old Kirby. Yeah, no, I'm curious if that kid would have been. I mean, he was obviously a really good basketball player. I wonder if he would have been right.
He didn't play at Clemson, right?
No, but I wonder what he would have been in football. He swore he would have been a Tommy Polly.
Polly was awesome. He was again kind of a little bit underappreciated part of the dynasty because him and Brian Allen both were really good. Hey, Isline, could you look up Ricky Bussell, the coach, and see who he was? They keep showing him.
Well, what I mean, he had Michael Vick as his quarterback. I mean, how much?
No.
Oh, here he goes again.
Ooh.
I mean, number one, it's blocked well. So give credit to the O-line and the tight ends for the way they blocked that option play. You can tell he's feeling it though.
Yeah.
Like he's really wearing it. The Bobby Rhodes, I think he got upset when Bobby Rhodes landed on him on the last time.
Yeah.
The last run. And then he just got sacked by Reynolds. That's a hold, by the way. That guy just tackled Reynolds.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Look at that. You're not used to, Theon Rackley's not used to guys running by him. Quarterbacks, running by him. I mean, that's just crazy.
Theon Rackley, definitely not iron bred.
Good one.
All right, so the great Ricky Bussell parlayed his time at Virginia Tech to be the head football coach at Louisiana Lafayette.
Oh, wow.
9-year run.
Is he still there?
No. He's currently the last seen as an offensive coordinator at Prince Avenue Christian School.
That's in Athens. He coached. He might have coached Mark Richt's kid.
Virginia Tech going for 2 again.
Really good.
They got to go for 2 because they screwed it up the last time.
Not only did they score, but they scored running up the middle, which they couldn't do all game. But now they got Florida State tired out, and he just walks into the end zone almost.
Yeah. So at this point, and I'm in that end zone. Literally, the last hour and a half of my life, 24-year-old Corey Clark's life, has been watching Virginia Tech just come into that end zone and score because the Florida State offense has like 1 first down, and at that point, you're like, man, Virginia Tech's a better team. Like, they have dominated the last 2 quarters of this game. That's a good play. That's Derek. That's first round for you kids. He's
Again,
really
why are you having him throw the football? I don't know. I'm going to have him running around, not trying to throw out of there.
Yeah. And,
their last 2-point try was a pass also.
So it was a 22-point run. It should have been a 24-point run. They just gave away 2 points by not kicking extra points. I mean, imagine that 99 Florida State team giving up 24 straight points to anyone. But that's basically what they just did. Virginia
rally here, so I'm grabbing a beer rally.
Yes, we got 30 minutes left about it, seems like. What's up with Nick Maddox, Ira? Regale us.
Oh, so
hold on.
so
I just want to let you guys know, Stephanie texted me and told me that the camera view was up my nose. So now I've adjusted it. Is it okay now?
I didn't know. It doesn't look any different.
She's being overprotective.
Are you looking up at your TV or something?
Oh, well, I am doing that.
That's what it is.
Is it up my nose now?
Kind of-ish.
Could you get closer so we can really look up your nose?
No.
Anyway, so when I got here in 2002, covering the team, bright-eyed, young Ira. I'm like 32, maybe 31, 32. And so I interviewed Nick Maddox, and he was, really good player. And I was supposed to have a big year that year. And I had this long interview with him, and it's awesome. He was awesome. He was just real open and candid, told me all this, really good stuff about growing up with him and his mom and how close they were and all this, how his mom.
His mom was like a crazy sports mom.
Hey, I'm telling a story.
Sorry. I didn't know that was the story.
That's not the story. But anyway, so she, how like she just supported him and just was his guiding force and his motivation and the story about him and his mom and the bond they have. So I call his mom and I talk to her for a half hour, get all this great stuff about him growing up and single mom taking care of him. Write this big feature. It's my first big feature covering FSU, the Oscar at the time. And I'm fired up about it. It runs, comes out, everybody loves it. Like Thomas, who now works at FSU, sits down with him and interviews him. It turns out Nick Maddox's mom wasn't really his mom. His real mom had a lot of problems in her life. So she had this friend, or maybe an aunt, take him in as his mom, as his like surrogate mom. And all this stuff was true, except it wasn't really his mom.
Yeah, that's something you could have included.
Would have been nice to. So Bob's whole story was basically like debunking my story, and like a week later. So yeah, I got kind of owned on that one. Nick Maddox is a really good guy, though. Covered him the next couple of years. He ended up. He works in town. He's a Leon County commissioner, I think, in Tallahassee. Real good guy, but yeah, he could have thrown me a bone on that one.
Way to get to the edge, Travis Minor. Way to get to the edge. First down.
It's ridiculous that they did that. Like, that was the biggest play of the game, probably one of them anyway. And it comes out of nowhere. We didn't see a kickoff. They fast forward to like the middle of this drive. So for the people that don't know or don't remember, Florida State would always use Marcus Outzen that year on QB sneaks because Winky had broken his neck the year before, and Outzen was a runner and a physical guy. So anytime he came into the game on short yardage, 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, it was always going to be a QB sneak, always. So in that instance, it's 4th and 1. Outzen comes into the game. It's in midfield. You're down 1. You've given up 22 straight points. The whole world knows it's going to be a quarterback sneak, and instead they run a toss sweep to Minor for the first time all year. It gets, 15 yards, and then another 15 because of the late hit. So it ended up being a 30-yard play. That was Mark Richt at his best right there. That was a really well-done play.
And I did get to talk to Mark Richt after the game, and I was talking about a lot of the great plays I went through with him. And he said that he thought that was his best play call of the game.
That was great.
The throw to Dugans, the throws to Minor, everything else. He goes, no, that one we had set up because exactly what you said, Corey, because we knew the tendencies. They knew when they had a month to look at film, and they knew when Outzen was in there what we were going to do. So
and if you watch the replay, the guy on the defensive end crashes all the way down trying to tackle Outzen, and that's how Minor breaks containment on the outside. And that was my man Jeff Chaney, by the way. Jeff Chaney was just a really good running back, man.
In his hometown, right?
Was he from New Orleans? I don't know if I remember that.
I'll have to double check. I'll look it up.
Travis Minor. I think Travis Minor, I think.
Oh, Travis Minor. Yeah, I'm not sure we're training. You're right. Travis Minor.
Jeff Chaney was from Lake Wales. I happen to have the roster right here. He's from Lake Wales.
Gotcha.
Come on, Ira.
Corey,
come on, Winky.
Corey, what's happening?
That is Antoine Bolden.
So he
was.
Yeah, I told you he played in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
He must have been suspended for the first.
Oh, Winky blew that pass. He had him. That was old Anquan there. That was it.
Yeah,
right?
It was. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vindicated, Gene. Vindicated. Take it.
Yeah, no lie.
Winky had him there. I mean, he could have been the hero there. He blew it. Bad pass.
6 seed.
I would literally cut up all these incompletions from Chris Winky and show it to James Blackman. So, hey, man, you can turn it all around. It's fine, man.
Aslan, all you got to do is pull up the NC State game from 1998. That'll do it.
Yeah. You thought the Sun Bowl was bad. No one cared about that game. Look at this one.
Yeah, he came back. He didn't throw another interception all season, literally. Now, he broke his neck, but you don't have to take it that far. So this is an enormous play right here coming up. Look at Mark Richt. Look how young he was. Holy moly.
Strapping man. Is that John Lilly?
Yeah, John Lilly to his left.
Yeah.
Now on the North Carolina staff. After his foray to the NFL.
Charles Schwartz.
Oh, man, that's a nice play.
They bust containment, and I think putting Travis Minor in motion. There's Winky again doing the hip thrust.
To the Virginia Tech sideline.
Putting Minor in motion, that's something they didn't do a lot either, or ever. And again, that opened that up wide open for a touchdown. Mark Richt, that was a big-time drive by him.
Like, Frank Beamer only has, 2 looks on his face, just dumbstruck and then incredulous.
Yeah.
Every time.
Well, he's got the excitement when they tied 0-0, and he throws his fist in the air, that one meme.
Man, you're right, though.
Man. Two touchdowns for Dugans.
You're right, though. Just sending him in motion, their entire defense went for that.
Yeah, and that's something they didn't ever do. Florida State didn't put tailbacks in motion.
Why would you have to? You had the best athletes, just line up, go. Maybe
so now
simplicity, dare I say?
Virginia Tech has now burned a timeout on a 2-point conversion on offense and burned a timeout on 2-point conversion on defense.
And Florida State gets the 2-pointer. So
yeah, and they didn't get and Virginia Tech didn't get. I mean, what a waste of timeouts. But this, I agree with Bowden here going for 2. By the way,
do you remember, Corey? Do you remember? Since you probably will, there was a big 2-pointer earlier in this season. You remember when that was?
The Clemson game, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And who made the catch?
Was it Kendra?
Yeah, Dan Kendra.
Yeah. It was the same play that Georgia used to beat Tennessee in Rick's second year, a really famous play. They used to beat Tennessee up there. Kind of a play action, hit the fullback in the middle of the end zone.
That had to be a pick play, right? Because they haven't shown it, but that had to be a pick. There's no way he's coming that wide open.
Hey, you don't know that, Ira. It's Peter Warrick, man.
I'm just saying. Brian Kelly's watching this, wanting the flag.
I was going to ask you, Corey, what was going on in Athens in '99 that they would not have made a run at Richt after this game?
So that was I mean, I guess they just Donald was still just 2 years removed from that really good season he had in '97. I guess I don't know.
I just
Yeah,
curious.
they could have gotten the Jeff Bowden year started quicker.
Let me ask you this. So you guys do your what if scenarios. What if Rick decides he doesn't want to be a head coach and he stays? Like how many of those assistants need to stay for the dynasty to continue?
Man, I think him.
Rick
him?
would be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they at least, if nothing else, they win the next national championship.
Amato was big at recruiting Miami. I mean, so he did have an influence, but
Yeah.
But if just Rick stays, you think?
But think about the quarterback development over the next few years after this. I mean, that's what went incredibly downhill. Imagine if you have Rick in there versus Daryl Dickey and Jeff Bowden.
And it wasn't just that Jeff Bowden wasn't great as an offensive coordinator. I think he was painted, and I'm not saying he was, but he was painted almost by the fan base and people outside the fan base as like a clueless buffoon, which we all know he wasn't, but he was painted that way.
Well, he was a liability in recruiting. I remember covering recruiting, and I talked to high school coaches, and they were like, he would almost be like offensive. They after a while they didn't put him on the recruiting trail. He was so bad.
Yeah. So yeah, there's your answer, Ira. Rick.
So that would have been something, huh? If he's just one of those guys that didn't want to be a head coach.
Well, head coach in waiting for 10 years.
That's what I was going to say. Or the other option, like nobody would have ever done it back then, and Florida State wouldn't have been the school to do it probably. But nowadays, like Clemson's paying their offensive coordinator $2 million a year, their defensive coordinator $2 million a year. Like if Florida State had offered him $1 million to be head coach in waiting, he might have stayed. Thinking that Bowden might step down in 5 years or so. You think?
Maybe, yeah. And maybe, that next year they were going to be awesome and everybody knew it. And so maybe I know he stayed, but then,
Clemson's paying Tony Elliott and Brent Venables a fortune to stay and be coordinators. Like nobody ever did that back then.
No, I don't know, but if he didn't want to be a coach, that would make sense. But it seems like he wanted to be a head coach.
Yeah, obviously, but if you had the option to make similar money, maybe. I'm not saying he's driven by money. Maybe he just wanted to be head coach. I'm just saying at least it could have delayed it a while.
Yeah.
But back then it was just like you had an assistant coach who was really good, and somebody offered him a head coaching job and that kind of money because assistants didn't make any money there. Back when I bet you if you went back and looked, I bet you Mark Richt probably made like $120 or $130,000 a year.
Right.
Because Mickey made like. When I got here in 2002, they were making like 200, the coordinators.
Yeah. And Bowden was making just over $1 million, right?
At that point, I think they had gotten him up to 2, but yeah, for a long time, I think Bowden was the first $1 million head coach.
Yeah, he was. I can't wait to see where they fast forward us to now in the game. Probably the
post-game celebration.
Probably the extra point after Warrick's
mid-bobble of Warrick's.
Don't worry, we're going to show you the replay.
Oh, we got the copper fit. Is that 3 or 4?
At least
this
3.
Is at least the third time. Yeah, for sure.
YouTube wants to know, would you rather have Jeff Chaney or Wilder Jr., James Wilder Jr.? Everybody.
Jeff Chaney was a good special teams guy too. I mean, I got a soft spot for Jeff Chaney, man.
Can we move Wilder to fullback?
Or linebacker?
I'll tell you what, man. Nobody ever talks about his run against Virginia Tech. At Virginia Tech, the Rashad Green play never happens. That run was unbelievable. He got stuffed in the backfield.
Yeah, no, he willed them to that first down, or the game's over, and they don't win the ACC that year.
That was a crazy run.
Nope.
Yeah, he was a good player, man, and he was also a big deal on the recruiting trail because he was such a highly touted kid that when he committed, a lot of other kids followed suit. But still, man, Jeff Chaney was something. All right, here we go. Big drive right here. Let's see if the Noles can get a stand.
And
fumble. Was that who forced that? Let's see who forced that fumble. Oh, I guess we're not going to see.
Was that Bobby Rhodes? I think it might have been Rhodes.
Bobby Rhodes was celebrating. I can't imagine he got him from behind, but he might have.
I think he did. Actually, I think he was tackling. I think his helmet hit the ball.
Oh, okay. All right.
49 got him.
Oh, did
49 calls it.
There you
Derek
go, Bobby
Gibson's getting
Rhodes.
taped up.
There's your boy Cheney.
He was just such a hard runner.
Yeah, that's a nice run.
Look at that, man. You're just not tackling. The
3 or
first
4
guy just
tackles.
wouldn't tackle him. So when he had that really big play on the screen pass on the previous drive where there were 3 dudes there and he just shoved them all off and got a first down, and then he makes that play, and he also returned that punt. Got the blocked punt in the end zone. That kid was legit, man. And in the game before, the Florida game in '99, right before this one that they had to win, Minor got hurt early on in that game, and they just rode Jeff Cheney. He had like 25 carries in that game for 100-something yards. So he's a big-time player, too. See, Cheney would have scored on that.
You know, everyone's bigger and stronger, but I feel like the offensive line looks bigger than the current offensive line.
A whole lot more physical than anything we've seen here in a while. Yeah, they were pretty physical. Virginia Tech's defensive line usually was good.
Yeah.
Not huge.
Those uniforms, though, man. The numbers, colors.
Oh, don't get him started, Aslan.
Sorry.
Second and goal from the 10.
We're gonna have to ban you from the live broadcast.
Merge me into the existing thread.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's the incredulous Frank.
Winky's showing some nice elusiveness in the pocket.
No, he was actually good about that. He was really, as slow as he was, and he was glacial. He was really that. I don't understand how that wasn't intentional grounding, but he could move in the pocket really, like Dan Marino. Remember how Dan Marino could just slide step here or there? He was really good at that.
There's Kender on the block. So we're gonna have to settle for a field goal here, methinks. Yep.
Yeah, but I think right here, when you have the kicker you have,
well, you're up 10. You're up 2.
and you're going to put you up 2 scores. That's the exact right play call. Now it wasn't executed at all, and you're not supposed to run a screen and lose 5 yards. But yeah, if you're going to throw a pass, make it something simple. It's Brett Williams, Justin Amon. Those guys were really good.
Did Brett Williams advance, Ira? I don't remember that.
No, he got clobbered. He went up against somebody really good, like
Cam Irving.
Might have been. No, I think it was somebody higher than that. I'm trying to
Walter
think.
Jones.
Dude, he might have been Walter Jones.
I'll pull up the old bracket.
Brett was a 6. I think he went against a 3. But yeah, no, he didn't.
Now, Brett could have gone against Alex Brown every single week, then he would have been number 1 on the seed list.
Hey, so what's the penalty for a chop block? It's 15 yards, right?
Yeah.
So why would Frank Beamer decline that penalty? Florida State's got the best kicker in the country, and it's a 32-yard field goal. I know you might be theoretically scared that Florida State's going to pick up a 3rd and 30. But wouldn't you back them up as much as possible and make them run another play?
Yeah, still a chip shot for Jano.
No, I mean 37 yards is. I mean obviously he's clutch and he's got the big enough leg. But that seems crazy to me that you wouldn't take that penalty.
20 years of hindsight, Corey. Easy for you. 20 years of hindsight.
A lot of questionable decisions by Beamer.
You know what though? Like the best thing about being Frank Beamer is, like, I guarantee you, nobody in the media in Blacksburg until maybe like 2014 probably ever criticized him because, I mean, he put them on the map. I mean, he was like, I mean, the same way as Bowden for so long. I mean, Bowden was pretty much untouchable until the end. So I guarantee you, if you read the Blacksburg Gazette or whatever was covered, Roanoke Times or whoever, after this game, nobody was questioning the play calling or any of those decisions.
No, I'm sure they won't. It was all about Vick and how proud they were. But those were 3 remarkably bad decisions. Well, 2. The first 2-point conversion, and then that right there. I mean, you can't let Florida State get up by 2 scores. So do whatever you can to push them back, and maybe they're going to run a draw or a screen, and hopefully he misses a 47-yard field goal. That's crazy that they didn't do that.
By
But
the
what are you
way,
going to do?
Brett Williams was a 6th seed in the offensive defensive line region bracket. He went up against Rodney Hudson. He was a 3 seed, Rodney Hudson.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's a tough
Brett.
one, though. That's a tough one, though. I mean,
It should have been a tough one, and Rodney won easily, but
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a recency thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing what really hurt Brett is the NFL side, and Rodney's had such a great NFL career, and Brett didn't. He played a couple
I
years.
think
and had
Rodney's got a chance
injuries.
to win it all.
No,
Yeah, he won't be
Jones.
Walter Jones.
Walter Jones only played 1 year. Rodney Hudson played 4. Rodney Hudson had a very good career.
The difference is people see that Hall of Fame jacket. That's
But now that we've switched it just to the tribal council, I feel like we have a little more informed fan base voting. And I'm telling you, if you look at what they did for the program, their impact on the program, one guy played 1 year and then ended up being the best of all time, but he still only played 1 year. Meanwhile, that guy was a 4-year starter.
You know what I feel like? I feel like maybe a Corey Clark column or message board post, or we could do like a point counterpoint, kind of like build up the hype, make your case.
Who's got that kind of time?
Me? You feel me?
No, I don't have that kind of time, and I'm going to be working on my hip hop abs. I already texted the Smith or whatever it was to that number, so I'm going to be doing that a lot.
A lot of folks commenting now over on the Tribal Council, speaking of which. Lots of Peter Warrick is the best guy alive ever. Toby Knoll 98, gosh, Warrick is smooth. Buck Knoll 72, are you watching this defense? Everyone actually loved it. Then we were great again. So happy for Bobby. Peter Warrick was awesome.
Yeah. It was crazy. You start out 28-7 run, and then in the middle you get outscored by 22 points, and then at the end you end it with a 17-0 run. It's a bizarre game. There's our man Ricky Bustle.
Dipping.
Just
on
dipping.
national television.
Well, speaking of dipping, Mickey was the king of dipping.
Yeah, he was.
He was chewing sunflower.
Well, that's right. It was only sunflower seeds, right?
Yeah.
Well, Bustle's got napkins put into the cup, so he's got good etiquette.
Oh, he's wiping something off the.
Look at Jano on that one, just booting it out of the end zone.
Man, that was a kick. Woo.
He's fired up.
Man, he almost hit a photographer with that thing.
Now they cut it out of here, but they returned one of his kicks in this, and it was a pretty long kick, and Jano just stoned the guy. The guy was
really?
Into Jano just went backwards.
So he played 19 years in the NFL?
Yeah.
Just retired.
Holy, I mean, good.
Mackerel.
19 years. I know it's just kicking, but that's nuts.
So now this is when you're like, as a fan in that building, you're like, okay, there's a 10-point lead. This is the drive. If you can stop them here, the game's over. A little razzle dazzle. That's a good play.
It's a really good play because the end on that side is playing contain.
Yeah, he did a good job.
So he cuts back and has that lane wide open.
Well, and you got to rest Vick a little bit in between plays because I'm sure the staff knows he's pretty wore out right now, and you got to save him.
Yeah, and Ryder's right. I don't know how much they touched on it in the documentary. I don't think I saw all of that part about Michael Vick, but he got as impressive as he was.
Look at that play by Brian Allen. Nice.
He got just eradicated in this game. Gene, pause it. You're like 8 seconds ahead of me.
Yeah, you are.
All right, watch this play by Allen.
That was a great play. Like he was getting slammed to the turf. And at this point, I think it's like, okay, he's not the same guy as he was an hour ago.
Those
it was wearing
socks. Like the gold pants, and then there's garnet on the knees on the socks, and the white. Gorgeous, man.
You're just throwing chum in the water, Aslan.
Well, people commented on it.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Man, how many tackles did Bradley Jennings have in this game? I'm looking that up. Seems like every time they made a play.
Brad Freeman on YouTube says Vick starts losing a step from here on.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, too.
Well, you get hit 40 times and on AstroTurf, it's going to happen.
Jennings had a team-high 8 tackles. Also had 2 sacks. Jamal Reynolds had 3 sacks.
Corey Simon caught him on that one. That tells you on this next play here.
Yeah, and look, right there, you're like, okay, the game's over. In my opinion, as a fan,
he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want any more. He literally just curled into the fetal position, and he's limping off the field, and that's a wrap. That's when I thought the game was over.
As long as you don't screw it up on offense somehow.
Now they're bringing the killer horses out.
Have you ever seen the horses on Bourbon Street? Well, I'm sure you guys have. Those are awesome. The cops' horses. I mean, it's when they jam a drunk dude against the wall with the horse. It is they're not getting out.
Fake punt again. So they missed the fake field goal and a fake punt.
Ooh,
Beamer ball.
Got a lot of yards though. What
He's
was
short,
that? 4th and 1.
Yeah, I think it was like 4th and 9 or 4th and 11. And he got blasted.
That guy's really going to run 11 yards. Come on, Beamer, Frankie, that ain't happening.
Hey, credit to him for at least fighting for it. But yeah,
just have Vick run or something. I don't know.
So yeah, he has to get to the 45.
That guy's no Leroy Butler right there.
It's a good play, I think, by Malcolm Tatum.
Man,
and then who comes over and hits him? Tay Cody. My man,
Cody.
Tay Cody. There you go, Tay Cody. We haven't said your name once tonight. You were an awesome player.
Man, he just crushed that dude.
That's the guy. That's their safety. That's the guy that was chasing Warrick in the end zone on the first play. Yeah, Sorensen. So right now, if people are listening to this with the audio up, this is when the whole crowd literally is chanting, Peter Warrick. Well, not the whole crowd, half the crowd. It was in between the TV timeouts right before this play. Literally, the whole crowd was chanting Peter Warrick.
And there it is.
And there he was.
Well, listen, you guys get straight. What was the story on the sideline here when Pete was talking to Bowden on the sideline here that he always talks about?
I don't know about that. I know that he said he heard it. Obviously, he couldn't have missed it. He heard the whole crowd chanting Peter Warrick. There's Winky just talking smack.
I mean, just seeing that kid's grill.
Yeah. And Warrick asked his teammates, "You want me to finish him? Let me finish him."
Finish him. That's what it is.
I want to finish him.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And then they called that play, and it was not a good throw, but it didn't matter because Peter Warrick.
I've got that. If I can bring the camera on, I've got the Sports Illustrated framed right around the corner here in the man cave that has Pete catching that ball in the end zone.
I remember watching. It says dazzling, right? Yeah, I remember watching the Sports Center that night. And as they were showing that replay, I don't know who it was, Bill Pito, Rich Eisen. They're like, the Cincinnati Bengals, you were on the clock as he was making that catch.
How are you watching? You didn't watch Sports Center that night?
Oh, sure. Well, they would replay it. Yeah, I didn't get
4 in the morning?
Yeah, it was 4 in the morning, but we still watched it.
We did in Pasadena. We went out to a bar. We did a shot in Jameis's honor because it was his birthday. And then we went back to our Airbnb and we're like, put it on ESPN. And we watched Sports Center on loop like 3 times.
Man, it doesn't make any sense why Wenke underthrew that. He had a clean pocket. But it makes the play so much better that he did.
It's amazing the guy interferes with him, holding his arm.
Which was smart. I mean, he was beat for a touchdown. You can't let him score right there, and he did what he was supposed to do, and he still made that play.
That angle, there it is.
It's crazy that he I don't understand why he didn't turn into an All-Pro.
Well, he went to Cincinnati. That was the problem.
Well, that probably was it. Yeah, he wasn't incredibly fast, but he had good top end speed, and he was, he had good hands. He ran good crisp routes. He was impossible to tackle one-on-one.
Well, didn't he catch like 40 passes his second year or something? I mean, he had a couple in.
Yeah, he had his first or second year. He almost had 1,000 yards receiving, and then he did suffer some injuries, and he never took off.
Well, they got Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson kind of overshadowed him, so when he got hurt. Hey, Corey, here's some trivia. Everybody can answer this, but I think probably if we had to pick somebody on the staff, you probably would know it. So Florida State went wire to wire, we know, in 1999. There was only 2 teams that were ranked number 2 that season. One is obviously Virginia Tech. Who else was ranked number 2 that season and lost, opening the door for Virginia Tech to take that spot?
So somebody was ranked number 2 for like 10 weeks?
Yep, exactly 10 weeks. And then week 11, Virginia Tech jumped them after they lost. I'm
going to guess Penn State.
Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
Because that was LeVar Arrington's year. And
I'll defer to Corey on this one. He is the best one.
Don't do that. I don't have any clue. That's just my guess.
Anybody on YouTube? 10 seconds. Somebody is here. David Hall says Nebraska. Not Nebraska.
Hey, if you text now, this time you can text yo to 30 30 30, and you can get the special.
Oh man,
offer.
they switch it up. This is a new offer.
I don't know.
It's
Gene
crazy
covered
you
up
can get over
Corey's face on the
$1,200 of
broadcast
his
here.
programs for free.
I mean, they're just giving it away. George Moore says Miami. No, it's not Miami. Corey, you were correct. It was Nebraska.
Oh,
or
I
Penn
thought I
State.
was
I'm sorry.
wrong.
It's Penn State. It was Penn State.
Well, you're asking. Okay.
Nice
There you
work,
go.
Corey. Nice work.
I did it, guys. I did it. That's why you keep me around for the trivia. So, yeah, his fourth year in the league, Peter Warrick had 79 catches for 819 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Nice.
I will
And,
give you extra props. Sorry, Corey. Go ahead. My bad.
How many catches?
He had 79 for
Wow.
819, so not a great average, 10.4, but he had 7 touchdowns. He also had 18 rushes for 157 yards.
He had some. I remember highlights. He had a couple nice punt returns too in the league.
Yeah, he had 2 punt returns for touchdowns in his career. So yeah, he ended up playing 6 years, and it just didn't. He had an okay career, just didn't live up to. I mean, you could say he's the best Florida State player of all time. He was incredible, and he showed up big in huge games.
Penn State lost at home to Minnesota.
Ooh.
24-23 that year.
Come on, Joe Pa.
Jeez.
Good grief.
I think Florida State would have preferred that matchup, just not having to see Michael Vick. I think they would have won going away against Penn State.
Yeah,
They
LeVar
were
Arrington
taking
was
anybody
playing
down that year.
Hit him again. Oh, he just got hit again. Man. See, that's the thing they left out of that game is, yeah, he was impressive. And, yeah, that was like his coming out party. But he got obliterated.
Look at him. He can't get up.
I mean, of course he can. He's shaking his head. He's wobbly.
I'd like to see one of the linemen or somebody pick him up there, right?
Well,
I mean,
no.
I mean, scrape him off the ground. He's got 300 all-purpose yards, and you guys can't. Nobody can go help him up.
Sean Key just blasted him.
The lineman went to help him, and then it's like, yeah, never mind. He's good.
Yeah, freshman. It's probably still freshman hazing.
The highest
got another
ranked
timeout.
SEC team at the end of that year was Alabama, number 8. The good old days.
Back when the SEC sucked.
Yeah, that stat that Florida State in the 90s had more top 5 finishes than the entire SEC. It wasn't always the best conference in the history of the world. Who'd you say the white hat is, Aslan?
I think it's Steve Shaw. I think that's his name.
Who's the head
He's
of
the
officials
SEC
now?
guy now, the head of officials for the SEC.
Yeah, let me see here.
Man, that ref is big. Did y'all see him? You don't see refs that size. Or that official, the back judge. He was pushing 3 bills.
I think I saw him earlier.
You don't see, he looked like a softball umpire.
Actually, Steve Shaw is now the new national coordinator of officials for the College Football Officiating Board.
Oh yeah,
He
that other
will-
dude.
Nope.
That other dude retired recently. Yeah, the guy used to come to ACC kickoff sometimes. The national guy. Can't remember his name.
So they have to show us these moments that don't matter at all, but they couldn't.
I was just thinking that, Corey. Why did you skip all this stuff at this meaningless
the stuff that mattered. You erased the whole. You erased the first 3 plays before the Travis Minor toss sweep to show this nonsense.
Which 22-year-old at the ACC office do you think got the job of splicing this up?
Yeah, I don't know. And
He put a lot of time and effort into it.
Had to do it from his living room.
Or if this is the same game that got cut up in February of 2000, and they just go to the archive.
Yeah,
and pull it off
this is the
shelf.
copy that ESPN Classic was showing in 2001. Yeah, that's probably what it was actually.
Wasn't David Warren USA Today Player of the
Are
Year?
you
or
in
something
there,
like
Corey,
that?
somewhere? See everybody doing the chop, showing the FSU fans?
I'm in there somewhere. Yeah, I'm in there somewhere. Me and my old man and Shanna was with me, and then 3 of my friends were with me. Malcolm Tatum again. Nope. Hold up.
So then, Willie Meggs cost Peter Warrick the Blitnikoff.
He's hit
right?
again.
Yeah. Oh, he cost him the Blitnikoff and the Heisman.
Jennings again said hello.
Who's Vick screaming at? That was a DeAndre moment right there.
Probably
Offensive
yelled at
line.
the offensive lineman that let him go by.
Yeah, golly, Mike. Come on, buddy. It's a team game. All those great runs you had, they were the reason you had them with those great blocks.
Oh man, that tackle should have peeled. Come in.
Yeah.
The tight end should have come underneath.
Oh,
Well, he almost went over to pick him up.
Gatorade time. Or, sorry, Powerade.
There's Marambo. I couldn't see who the other
Marambo.
guys were holding it. There's Talman
Oh,
Gordon.
Got
you
him.
notice there's Charles Schwab on the Powerade bucket, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good money's worth. Wonder why Charles Schwab stopped investing in college football. I mean, they got pretty good placement here.
They spent a couple million on this ad campaign.
And they were done.
What's he got the headsets on for? Literally, you're not getting the ball back. Are they just saying, hey, man, it was a pleasure. Sorry we couldn't block? What's Ricky Bustle telling them?
Snoop's in there with Bowden. He's going to be in the picture.
Yeah.
Marambo.
Literally, nobody knew what Snoop was about to be, but he was incredible that next year. It was really kind of remarkable that he turned into like the go-to guy. I think everybody thought Anquan was going to be that guy.
Corey, if you could have played one more game, they'd have another national championship trophy.
Oh, I know.
You know,
Pretty good stat line for national championship game. P-Dub with 6 catches for 173 yards. Was that what it was?
163, 2 touchdowns, and a 60-yard punt return touchdown.
Well, yeah, over 200 all-purpose.
And a
national
conversion.
In a
But
national championship game.
Not the Blitnikoff and not the Heisman winner.
Wow.
You know who won the Blitnikoff that year? Anybody?
Wasn't Antonio Bryant, was it?
No, it wasn't
Pittsburgh?
anybody. It was a guy named Troy Walters from Stanford.
Jeez.
And Ron Dane won the Heisman.
And
Ron
then
Dane would have gotten 7 carries on this Florida State team.
And
Who
got
then
busted later for
the shoot.
back and getting the
Yeah,
discount.
their big shoe scandal at Wisconsin that was like way more money than Foot Locker, I think, but nobody cared 'cause it was
Dillard's?
Wisconsin. Or certainly Dillard's.
That is funny that Menace is just right there with him, just bobbing.
Like Winky shaking hands now after talking crap the entire
Yeah,
game.
hey man, no hard feelings. No hard feelings. You're a warrior.
Heart of a champion. Heart of a champion.
Or he's probably say something. Say something.
Oh, Beamer looks like he's struggling.
Looks like that cop's got to hold him up. What's up with
Yeah,
that?
that's a different.
Sure does.
Looks like Weekend at Bernie's.
That's the best line right there, Ira.
Yeah.
Look at him.
There's Adrian Karsten.
Yeah, man. Mark Richt, smile. I've never seen him that happy.
Man, he got down to the field quick.
Yeah, I guess he could come down with a couple minutes left.
As soon as Pete caught the ball in the end zone, he came down.
Frank Beamer, you would never come close to this again. Crazy how life works.
How close did they ever get even close? Did they ever get were they ever in the mix in like November?
Oh,
Never
07,
again?
they were close. Remember when everybody had 2 losses? They were one of the teams that had 2 losses, but one of their losses they had lost by like 50 points to LSU. So I think that was the last real shot they had.
I wonder if
What was
when
their
they
show in
signed
the
Vic,
postgame?
when they signed Vic's brother, I wonder if everybody's thinking, oh, we're gonna be right back. Marcus.
I'd say the younger brother Marcus's didn't work out very well at Virginia Tech or Florida State.
Ooh.
Correct.
Sorry, had to go there.
Tyrod Thomas or Tyrod Taylor, whatever his name is, he was good.
Oh yeah.
He was good, yeah.
The starting quarterback for the Chargers now that Phillip Rivers left.
Wow.
Well, unless they draft somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Swafford.
Oh wow, you're right.
Really?
Man,
Oh
like
man,
a-
is he young? Wow.
He looks like a beetle.
with brown hair. Man,
Doesn't
that's
even
crazy.
look like his hair.
You know, his brother's was a singer in the '60s
Yeah,
or whatever. Like
he had a
singer.
hit song. He had one of the songs he had was a popular one.
Yeah. He looks like he could have been his backup singer.
So if he had said right then his undefeated season, I know it wasn't ever really a possibility. But if he had told Lynn Swan right there, and I just want to announce right now that this was my final game as a college football head coach. Does the dynasty ever end? I mean, it would have ended
Everything
eventually.
ends, Corey.
But does it end 10 years later?
Who
Who
gets the
takes
job?
over? Yeah.
Mark
It's
Rick takes over.
You think?
Yeah.
Slam dunk? Gene, what do you say? You were covering the team.
What now? They would,
Would-
dynasty would end, but I'd say you
No.
get.
Would
No,
Mark
who
Rick
takes
would
over
Mark-
for Bowden?
Who takes
No,
over?
yeah, I think Rick does take over. That I mean, the groundswell of public opinion would have been high at that point. You just put up 30-something points in a national championship game. You won it. Yeah, I think it would have been Rick at that point.
And then, yeah,
All
I
right,
think
gentlemen.
that
We
you do
did.
better than Chris Ricks.
Hey, they're going right into the 2013 national
Hey,
championship.
y'all want to just run this back?
Let's
You
keep
can,
going, boys.
Yeah,
you can
let's
go
just run it back.
All
Just Brian
night.
Ford walking from the
Go.
golf course.
scroll back on YouTube to last week when we did this for that one.
Hey, guys, great job. Thank you, guys. Aslan,
Enjoyed it.
Corey, Ira, great job.
Always a pleasure
Yeah.
seeing you, gentlemen.
See y'all.
Stay connected to
Yes.
warchant.com.